What's going on, y'all? Shout outs to everybody in the building. It's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host, DJ Kuda, right back at the helm of today's show. Got a great show for you guys. Today's Player Talk Radio. Make sure you guys hit the like button, support the show on the way in. And a lot of those channels right now, like I said, they're running out of content, you know. A lot of their content is just repeating itself. And it gets redundant, you know. It gets stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know what they were talking about before they got here, you know. And then, you know, if you build your whole channel off of unoriginal, you know what I'm saying, line of thought, it just ain't gonna work out. Especially if you put a lot of time and effort into it. What a waste, you know. And it would be sad because some of these people, they got stage presence. You know, some of these people, they are talented. Or can at least hold a conversation. Or make something seem interesting. Or run a show. Right? So I told you guys there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be talking about stuff in our space and not know what they're talking about because they simply wasn't around for it. And then, you know, stuff that like O'Shea and, you know, stuff that, you know, Obsidian and Angry Man and all that other stuff. A lot of that stuff got wiped off the, you know, out of these spaces, you know. But we'll get back to them later. What I wanted to get to is Fresh and Fit. You know, I actually found a documentary that was put out more than a month ago, like a little bit over a month ago, y'all, that nobody's covered and nobody's talked about because, like I said, you know, a lot of the content creators that y'all watch, they lackluster, man. You know, just real talk. You know, so definitely hit the like button, support the show, hit the Cash App. Let's get into it. It's Player Talk Radio. Let's break this down real quick.
At one point in time, Fresh and Fit was one of the top super chatted channels YouTube has ever seen, making the top 10 list at their peak. Now, well, they're a shell of their former selves. Hard to believe, but they were once the top men focused podcast in the entire world. Now, not only has their money dropped, their influence, public respect, and self-respect along with it. But why? What caused? Well, it's not any one thing. It's a laundry list of actions taken that could have been avoided, and even if not avoided fully, remedied quickly that the Fresh and Fit team opted not to do. From humble beginnings on smaller platforms, their sudden rise and brief reign as the kings of men's podcasts, all the way to the disgraceful yet predictable downfall. This is the full timeline of the rise and fall of the Fresh and Fit podcast. The Fresh and Fit podcast originally wasn't even called Fresh and Fit. Hell, originally it wasn't even two people. At first, it was one person. That person being Myron, aka Mufuddle, the more well-known of the duo, the one who does all talking and really made Fresh Fit what today. Originally, this podcast was called Weight and Dates, but the person who he hosted it with was not Fresh. It was another guy who we covered here on this channel, who I won't even touch on because I already have a video on this scumbag and I'm all Donovan Sharped out. But yes, this is the person who gave Myron his first shine. In hindsight,
he has a Donovan Sharp. He has a Donovan Sharp. Oh, this is interesting.
Knowing the character of the first person Myron publicly looked up to, it's not hard to see why and how FNF went down the path they went down. It started when he bought a consultation from Donovan Sharp.
So it started, and I actually got a consultation with Donovan, and we were talking about, you know, shooting stuff about fitness, game, everything like that.
Donovan eventually thought, hey, this guy is knowledgeable. Let me make a show with him called Weights and Dates.
Everything like that. And you're a pretty knowledgeable guy. Would you come on the show? I was like, dude, it'd be an honor. And he had me on, and we talked about fitness. We did a show.
All right, let's get right to it. My special guest this evening is none other than the fittest man I know, my man, Mr. Myron Gaines, who I had the pleasure of meeting down in Orlando last weekend.
This went so well that Donovan not only encouraged Myron to make his own show and podcast.
And then I'll never forget, Donovan was like, hey, man, You need to make a YouTube channel.
He also invited him back to be on The Six, which was a panel show that featured a lot of guys in the red pill. Kevin Samuels, most notably, and another person by the name of Solo TV 84, just to name a few. Keep that in your back pocket for later. They will be relevant. Anyway, Myron didn't have too much success in his own right.
How come people that's not even really in the space? That's my thing. How come people that's not really in the space know more history than people in the space damn near every day talking shit? Bro probably did some research. How comes people that's not in the space? Because I don't know if I know this guy or I've seen this guy before, or whatever. You know, I'm breaking this down with y'all right here. But how comes they know more about space than people that be in the space every fucking day? Let's go.
At the time, even with the boost from Donovan Sharp, he was doing all right, but not quite your day job levels of all right. It might sound impossible, but yes, at one point, Donovan Sharp was actually relevant. Imagine that. Before Donovan got exposed, again, more info in this video, he was actually a kingmaker. Kevin Samuels, seen as the second coming to a lot of these misguided. Donovan Sharp was the one who put him on before he was even known. Just pearly things as well, and of course, Fresh and Fit. Anyways, it was around this time that Myron met Solo TV 84. This is the guy who introduced Myron to Fresh, aka Walter Weeks, and that's
What's going on, Afi? Oh man, shout outs to Afi Kingdom in the building. What's going on, player? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Shout outs to Afi in the building. What's going on? All right. Can't make this up, Afi.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
All right. Let's get into it.
began the Fresh and Fit podcast. Solo TV, coincidentally,
I figure out how all these people know the history. I'm not gonna say everything this guy is saying is correct, but I'm like, all right, keep going. Some of it's right.
subscribes to my channel. I've got lots of videos critiquing the red pill and red pill creators. So if he subbed as what I assume to be an ex-red pillar, you,
Right.
the viewer, you know what to do. From this point on, Fresh and Fit was in its crawling stages. A lot of the videos and live streams were genuinely self-improvement focused. Things like the truth and fitness, is fasting superior, do looks matter, and general actionable advice that is actually helpful. Then when you take a look at the live streams, it's stuff like how to find success with women in Europe, social media versus real life for dating, and bedroom tips as well. A far cry from what FNF has
A lot of these cats don't know about YouTube, and honestly, a Fresh and Fit channel. If you're gonna talk about fitness at some point, you're gonna have to talk about nutrition. You know, y'all hit the like button on the way in. Support the show. Let's try to get at least 5 contributors to today's show. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Support Player Talk Radio. We got a catch up, Sunday catch up, and I'm telling y'all, man. You know, like I said, a lot of these fitness channels can't go but too far, especially on YouTube, especially during the time when a lot of these channels were started. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, YouTube was being a ass hat about, and damn near all social media sites are ass hats about nutrition. You know, because anyhow you start talking about fitness, you got to get into nutrition at least to maintain certain, a certain level of fitness or physique or whatever the hell you trying to do, your gains or whatever, right? And they're gonna, you gotta always and have a disclaimer like, I'm not giving out health advice and blah blah blah. You know, you have to go through all of that shit. So it's like, and plus half the people ain't listening anyway. The motherfuckers get mad when somebody buys a consultation and stuff like that. Yeah, so you won't fuck around and waste your time with people that ain't gonna go to the damn gym and work out anyway. Just like a lot of dating coaches and pickup artists wasted their damn time with dudes that are scared of hoes that ain't gonna go outside anyway. And they suffer from approach anxiety or whatever anxiety. That's a muscle, by the way.
become, as those of you who are familiar with them no doubt know. It continued a lot like this for some time. Having the guys that have put them on first or that they collab with first, like Minister Jap, Donovan Sharp, Kevin Samuels, and the rest of them on. But it didn't find anywhere close to the same success they eventually grew to regularly.
Because everybody knows our damn sector, steals our damn talking points and vernacular, and no real shout out. How does that happen?
enjoy found in their after hours. It wasn't until one day that they had some girls in the studio and they decided to go live with said girls and interview them.
Yo, guys, we have some lovely ladies in the studio tonight. They're all beautiful. But we want to say one thing. It's gonna be fun tonight. It's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Fun, hell yeah.
So,
Okay. So first question, right?
Then
Yeah.
a blonde and one studio. What else are you trying to
Hey,
figure
man,
out?
it's lit.
First question, right? What do girls want in a guy?
Boom.
From this point on, FNF didn't know this yet. They struck gold. You might look at the YouTube scene and see everyone and their mom interviewing women and asking them what their body count is,
Just gave
kicking
him
out
a 9.
women.
You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the fuck up and get the fuck out.
But Fresh and Fit were the pioneers of this whole thing. They were the ones who stumbled upon the formula and figured it out.
You got to be fucking kidding me. Fresh and Fit were not the pioneers of this whole thing. Respectfully. You just named a whole bunch of people. Fresh and Fit were not the pioneers of the show. I mean, of that, respectfully. Now, did they, did they put a show together? Did they, give it structure and, had equipment and stuff? Yeah, but they weren't the first. Best believe they wasn't the first. They just physically did what we were doing on panels too back in the day.
Out first. Many people have tried and failed miserably. For example, the Fake and the Pretender. More info on this cornball in these videos. And others have tried it too. And they've arguably made it even better, like the Whatever podcast. Note that I'm just looking at the numbers. I think the entire niche of
Whatever podcast bit off of Fresh and Fit. Who's doing this documentary?
asking women the same question is played out and boring. But the fact still stands that FNF were the ones who started this whole thing. From this point on, it was business as usual. Growing pretty fast in their niche of the red pill, not making too many waves outside of that, and generally giving a peek into the dating world of Miami. At this point, their fan base, although still red pillars, was a lot more tame. The launching pad that finally shot Fresh and Fit into the mainstream was Kevin Samuels. His appearance on FNF through a phone call was the first time they went by.
Fresh and Fit was going to take off whether Kevin Samuels got on their show or not. Fresh and Fit was going to take off whether Kevin went on the show or not.
Viral for real. Kevin Samuels at the time was also going viral. While Fresh and Fit are known for the whole inviting women on the show and making fun of them thing now, Kevin Samuels started this aspect. And before I get the Kevin Samuels fanboys in the chat saying
Kevin Samuels did not start. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm about to get irritated, man.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
Fresh and Fit didn't start, and Kevin didn't. Jesus Christ.
he did it to both men and women. I know that is technically true, but I have never seen a viral Kevin Samuels clip of him doing it to a man. We all know why he's famous. He wasn't known for holding men accountable. He is known for telling women they're average at best, that and the rest of that. Keep it a buck. That's what people tuned in for. Even that Fresh and Fit collaborative that got them so many views, what was it for?
There's a hierarchy of needs. You are correct. We
Right,
all
we don't need you,
college.
and we don't need you. You need us.
Great. I don't need you either.
I know we need you. We don't need you for survival. You need us for survival.
Clearly wasn't for holding Fresh accountable or Myron accountable. Nope, it was for what he was known for. Sidebar here. I'll never understand the attraction to
First of all, Myron and Fresh wasn't going off the rails when Kevin Samuels was alive. Maybe towards his demise, but he started off okay with a little bit of facts and just got into some bullshit. Then just got into some straight up bullshit. Y'all hit the like button, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, support the channel. It's player talk. Let's get into this, man. This is gonna be annoying.
asking someone their standard and then telling them that they'll never get it. To me, it seems wholly boring. All this high value man talk from Fresh and Fit. By now, we've seen the biggest supporters at their yacht parties and their Twitter spaces, and well. I should say, I'm not sure that even the worst Miami girl has one of these high-value men on their radar. Anyways, this was a very key and pivotal point for Fresh and Fit for two reasons. One reason was lesser known and lesser talked about. Of course, it's key because Fresh and Fit now is co-opting the success of Kevin Samuels, and the video went viral. The stream itself is sitting at 650K views at the time of this writing. And the video clips that came from the situation were probably seen over 1 million times between Fresh and Fit and their other clip channels / reposters. But the other way this is a turning point for Fresh and Fit, unbeknownst to anyone involved, was due to the beef that would later come out between FNF and the very person apparently that they looked up to and helped them so much, Kevin Samuels.
Telling the truth on TikTok.
Yeah, the video that got me banned was basically when I said, this is what happened. I made a video and I said, hey guys, when a girl says, let's reschedule, I said, you need to punish her for that bad behavior. And when you meet her on the date, she needs to pay for the first drink. The feminists went crazy because I said punish and bad behavior. And I said you can't reinforce good behavior with good treatment if she flakes. And they're like, oh my God, you're treating her like a dog. And it's like, what it's really come down to is this. Women don't want to be held accountable for flaking on men.
One of which was because he said punish bad behavior in relation to a girl canceling a date. In context, I'm not gonna lie, I do understand what he's saying. Basically, don't be a doormat, and when you do reschedule, I think playfully saying, oh, you gotta buy me a drink because you came late is actually not that bad.
Honestly, that's like a low barrier to entry thing. If you go out on a date with a woman or whatever, or she flakes or whatever, what you should say is, next date is on you. You understand what I'm saying? If she wants to go out on a date, cool, but it's on you. You know, and still bring some money too. You know, so if you want to pay for your shit and get up and leave, because honestly, that's how it goes. Next date is on you.
He used the words punish because, like I said before, they want controversy. It's a double-edged sword because Myron is fine with being the villain. It actually worked well for some time using the strategy. Their fan base was completely separate from the fan base that got angry at the punish bad behavior thing. So they lost literally no traction. And in fact, they gained more. Quick crash course about cancellation is that it only works if the fans care. For example, Donald Trump correctly stated, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? Because Donald Trump has the ultimate cancel deterrent, and that's a fan base that literally likes him on the basis of him being him. Nothing he does can change that, including but not limited to bloody murder. The other not as reliable but still workable way of deterring a loss of fan support, aka cancellation, is having the controversy be separate from what you're liked for, which is what happened in the case of FNF. Like I said, the fans like this, so it naturally escalated to kicking girls out of the studio for their bad behavior. It was so well received that it became a staple in their videos. All the FNF fans were waiting with bated breath for one of these girls to do something, or in some cases do nothing and get kicked off the show.
All right, later, bye. We've debunked rape culture. Rape culture is a myth. It's not as common as people say it is.
Yo,
Like, you want to go cry outside.
Yeah.
Like, this is an adult conversation. If you can't divorce your emotions from reality, that's two different things. Does anyone else want to join her?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, us
cool.
too.
Leave. Leave.
Yep.
So that's what the channel was about, especially in its earlier days. You don't see too many women getting kicked off now, because a lot of dudes believe that we're in a quote unquote gender war, you know. And like I said, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't fuck who, you can't fight who you're trying to fuck. And niggas still haven't picked up on that yet, you know? There is no gender war. If you successfully prove to whoever that they're wrong, you don't win anything. It's goofy and it's dumb. You know? It's goofy and it's dumb. You know, it's like having a whole bunch of points you're not about to get credit for. You know? So it makes no sense pursuing half this shit. And then some of the stuff that Myron is telling women already know. And they don't care about changing it. Why? If you can get in somewhere for free, why are you going to advocate to pay when you get it for free? You know? And like I said, since the beginning, you know, women have duped men into a lot of goofy shit. And I can't even blame the women after a while. Men have duped men into a lot of goofy shit. You know? Men have duped men into a lot of goofy shit. There's like a what you call it, a promise, you know, some you know, a promise that men have with women, that, oh, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that, and then, you know, you're so busy doing all of this shit, or feel like you're supposed to do all this shit, when you look back at them and like, so what are you supposed to do? They don't know. They know how to tell you what you need to do and enforce what you need to do. They don't know what they're gonna do, but hey, it is what it is.
Who else? Go ahead.
Who else?
Boom. Yeah.
by myself.
Yep, leave.
Now you know where the punishing bad behavior comes from and where the term Frank Castle in relation to the Fresh and Fit podcast comes from, if it wasn't already obvious. So from here, it again continued to grow as a podcast. At this point in time, the guests invited weren't horrible. Of course, we had some scammers and charlatans, namely the fake and the pretender, who will teach you how to run a business and be a man for the low price of $1,000 when his only successful business I can find is his YouTube or is YouTube related, like his merch or his cult. And he bullies 18-year-old girls for having the audacity to not want to be associated with him. More info in this video. And Donovan Sharp, who is literally a career criminal, who has scammed everyone from his fans to his literal dad. But there was also some decent value being added. They had divorce lawyers on, credit score tips. They also had some entertainment. Michael Blackson, DJ Academics, Traplo Ross, and other pretty notable names outside of the red pill niche. Basically, at this point, they weren't known just for women coming on. They were known for mainly that, but people actually trusted their platform to at least.
And Fresh and Fit is in on the same audience. It's just they're a little bit different. It's different when you're a duo. But Fresh and Fit is in on the same audience Kevin Samuels was in on, which is the hip hop audience. That's the audience that made Kevin Samuels famous, not the manosphere. Hip hop made Kevin Samuels more famous than the manosphere.
Least have some decent people. The air around these guys was basically, okay, they're jerks to women, but they're not necessarily bad people. Myron's a hothead who's been hurt by women and hasn't gotten over it. Fresh, he's just along for the ride and has no beliefs about any of this. The rest of the crew is more or less irrelevant. They're controversial, but not necessarily bad, right? That was until about this moment.
Because you got triggered, baby. What's going on in here?
I'm happy when old boy pulled the gun on him, the little stripper man.
What's up? Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. I wish come to my door.
Who is this guy? Why is he breaking into the studio? Well, to answer those questions, you got to take a slight step back. This is Abba and Preach. Both will be relevant, but especially Abba as things progress. The 19th law of power. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. If ever there was one mistake that led to the downfall of Fresh and Fit, it would be this. Before Abba and Preach was invited onto their podcast, Myron said this on a separate podcast in relation to Abba.
I'm really happy that I went last because everyone on this panel made phenomenal points. And I'm gonna take a bit from everybody, and I was like kind of like taking notes in my head as everyone was speaking. This is what I think. He went and he read The Rational Male. He probably went through some RP rage in 2013, couldn't get girls, whatever it may be, right? Struggled, right? Then his YouTube channel started to blow up. And this is one thing I've learned about a lot of guys that consume the RP. They take it to the point that they start to get women. Once they start to get women, they get rid of it. Hey, I don't need this crap no more. I'm not no misogynist. Bam, right? And they think that they don't need it anymore. And then that goes back.
They got that from us. That's not how it goes. They got that from us. The saying is you're one blow job away from going back to the plantation. That's what that is. That's what it is. It's not even about red pill. It's about male philosophy in general. They got that from us. It's about male philosophy in general. In general, men will talk shit, do whatever the hell they do, and then when their girl come around or somebody that they're attracted to, they throw all of that shit out the window and go right back to what led them to talking like that in the first place, or in the red pill, or wherever they are in the first place.
That's exactly what Lucario was saying. They ain't in it like we are. You know what I'm saying? They took what they needed, got the clout, got the girls. Now, you know what? I can start to observe some of these blue pill ideals that I used to have. Some of the, what they call purple pill, right? As some guys call purple pill. So he didn't consume the content enough and learn it to get out of the RP rage.
And that's the problem. A lot of these dudes don't go outside. They don't practice they've never practiced what they preach. I can see if you have before, or you stopped, or you worked it on something else, cool. But that would reflect in your character and your and how you go about certain things. Most of these dudes don't practice what they preach, or never practice what they preach, or don't understand what they preach. And they're not players. You know what I'm saying? They're not players. And a lot of them really aren't reaching for it. They're not really reaching for anything. Respectfully. So number one, you're not a player. You're not reaching for nothing. Honestly. Red pill topics, yeah, it catches your interest, but you don't have no real use for it. So what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with the knowledge different that most guys don't do? You're just gonna use it to try to make some blue pill shit work, some blue pill shit pop off. Yeah, it could be purple pill, but you still got to be red pill. And I'm not even gonna lie, there's a lot of dudes in red pill spaces that are going through blue pill rage, not actual red pill rage. If you never really experienced nothing, you know, where is it coming from? What's gonna pass them? What pain? So sometimes people listen to other people and vicariously try to take on their, ideology or philosophy and think that they've experienced pain. They really haven't. You never really, some dudes are even mad at dudes because they had the opportunity to deal with certain women and experience certain things like pain. Interesting, ain't it? All right. Y'all hit the Cash App, the PayPal. Shout outs to everybody in the building. It's player talk. Let's get it. Hold on. Run this back.
You start to get women, they get rid of it. Hey, I don't need this crap no more. I'm not no misogynist. Bam, right? And they think that they don't need it anymore. And then that goes back to exactly what Lucario was saying. They ain't in it like we are. You know what I'm saying? They took what they need.
Lucario's a player. Again, proving my point. You don't have nothing going on in your life where you can put it into continuous practice.
Got the clout, got the girls. Now, you know what? I can start to observe some of these blue pill ideals that I used to have. Some of the, what they call purple pill, right? Yeah. As some guys call purple pill. So he didn't consume the content.
And when they do that, that's just basically them trying to gain an understanding. That's just them trying to gain an understanding of what they were living or what they could have lived through that they misinterpreted.
Enough and learn it to get out of the RP rage. So he was in RP rage, starts getting girls. Okay, you know what? I got the clout now, whatever. I'm kind of aware of female nature, but I don't need to consume any more of this content. I'm good. And then he gets out. And then this is why you end up with this wavery type situation where, well, it's toxic or blah, blah, blah. Anybody that has common sense understands that the RP and everything else like that, alpha, beta, all these, they're placeholder terms to explain things. It doesn't necessarily mean.
Abba caught wind of this and went onto their podcast with this in mind. Myron, for as much as he likes to be seen as alpha who puts women in their place, seems to be a lot more demure and docile.
And Abba and Preacher red pill. Technically.
Presence of men. Abba's not even a domineering guy. He just looks like your average dude. When confronted on this, here's how he reacted.
Specifically, you felt like we were kind of built, right?
I don't remember. What show was this one?
I remember very, very well because that episode I was very careful of what I said because you watched it. That episode I was very careful of what I said because you watched it. So I just want to ask you about that. Why do you think I might be blue pilled?
Well, from what I remember, I'm trying to remember. I would say blue. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, which video was?
It was the one.
I'm trying to remember.
I said, I quoted it right to his face. Even the goofy fresh boy, he was like, "Oh, Abba came with the smoke." I also find it funny that he came with the smoke.
Two things to note: Walter instantly remembers it for one, and for two, Abba didn't come at him like, "Hey man, who's talking shit? What the word is now about that?" He actually said it pretty nicely and softened the blow with, "Why do you think I might be blue pilled?" Notice how he's stuttering and avoiding eye contact to end the situation. Also note that Walter, like the dunderhead he is, starts telling Myron, "Oh, I remember it. It was this day," completely missing the obvious fact that Myron is trying to run from it when he could have just said, "Yeah, I thought you were before, but I was clearly wrong. You seem chill. My bad. I had only one video to go off of. I take that back." Instead, he just obfuscates and plays dumb. Another thing worth pointing out is that during this live stream, Preach was laughing at what Walter was saying.
You're gonna tell me in my face. You're gonna tell me in my face that you just felt I want her soul broadcasted on internet, and you gonna tell me that all these girls gonna have respect for
You know some of them.
Now, the real issue arises when we look at what happened after. Abba and Preach went on their channel and called them out. They both said some things that they didn't exactly say beforehand, nor did they let FNF know there'll be a generally negative video made about them. On this front, I somewhat sympathize. Probably be annoyed if I invited someone to my place, and they decided to turn around and say things they could have just said to me on air. But at the same time, Myron did do some weirdo stuff too, avoiding taking accountability for his own words. So I guess it is fair game.
Number 2, she ain't gonna respect you.
People go on your show and disrespect you for free, and you kick them out. Isn't that true?
That's true.
So it's like this whole idea you gonna get respect from these ladies if you don't.
Both made some decent points. FNF said at the time, it's better that someone actually likes you and it's degrading to pay for it. And you're not getting the best, which I do kind of agree with. But also, they brought up disrespect, and freaking Fresh of all people said every girl still loves him that he's ever been with. And he gets their soul. Yeah, not buying it. There's about 30 minutes worth of evidence against that being the case right here.
And you talk about the respect. Let me ask you something. All the girls you smashed. Yeah. If I talk to every one of them, you think they all respect you or are going to say good things about you? Yes. All of them? All of them. You know, okay. You know what's the best part? The live stream chat during that period, they were going crazy.
I know.
Yeah, they were just going, Cap, that's a lie.
At the end of the day, to each their own, but I'd rather become a eunuch than pay for play, but that's just me. But that's all besides the point. In response to this, Myron crashed out to the holistic stand.
I wasn't going to do this.
Wait, the hand symbol?
Yo, I was not going to do this.
The international.
My man Abba looks like he got off a camel, hasn't cut his hair in years. Dusty as we got a better channel than y'all, more views than y'all. The only thing you guys got on us is you guys been on longer. But I guarantee you, next year, this time, we're going to lap you. You know what? Nobody works harder than us.
Nope.
We are better than you. Period.
Just horrible, terrible, atrocious form. You're going at one of the most beloved creator duos who've been on this platform for years. Even though I think both parties somewhat have decent reasons to have issues with each other, one party just went about it all bad. This kicked off one of the most entertaining and long-standing feuds on YouTube that I've ever seen. From this point on, Abba and Preach, but more so Abba, made it his life's mission to destroy.
I mean, it's duo versus duo. It's literally duo versus duo.
Fresh and Fit. But all he really did was bait them and then upload a video on what they did. I say Abba and Preach destroyed Fresh and Fit, but at the end of the day, they chose to behave this way and pick the wrong dialogue option every time. Things only got worse when Walter and Myron challenged Preach to a boxing match and insulted his supposed wife. The woman just ended up being a friend of Preach's, so she caught a crazy stray for no reason. But due to this, Preach, who took more of a backseat in this beef, was now at the forefront.
So real talk, man. We put out an invite. If y'all want to talk, come back in the studio. We'll talk about it, or we could box about it too. Cause I'm in the gym now, you feel me? I'm feeling nice right now. I'm wired right now.
That's a box of Preach, bro. That's a box of Preach, bro.
So you know what? Come back to Miami. Let's box it out. Talk it out too. How about that?
But like real talk, man. Like if we're gonna have this discussion, we're harder than you, straight up, and we work harder than you guys. We put out all different types of content. Yep. We ain't just out here reacting. This Preach is married, probably to a fucking beluga whale somewhere, and y'all talking shit.
Myron had a completely different energy from before. Preach responded in kind, wanted all the action and then some.
And later on in the video, you're saying that you want to box with me. So that happened that I'm going to be in the U.S. next week. You want to do this shit? Let's go. Both of you. I'll be in the U.S. next week.
Hold up.
But now you want to do this?
You want to set up the box match?
Let's go!
Okay, we can set it up.
Both of you. Let's go.
Hey, man.
You want to do this? Let's go. Let's go.
Safe to say he wasn't ducking any smoke, especially not from someone who can't even look a woman in the eye, and even less so from Fresh.
On some level as well.
After this response from Preach, everyone pretty much was on Abba and Preach's side. Everyone found it abhorrent just how low Myron stooped and how he conducted himself, and some just couldn't rationalize how he would make fun of women for being emotional and not thinking with a level head when he did all that. This is also seen the loss of subs at the time, a whopping 50K sub loss after this. All this jumping around yelling, "We're better than you guys," literally halted their upward trajectory. It was kind of poetic if you think about it. It was because of this loss of subs that Myron eventually...
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, after a while, I guess you can't put on a mask anymore with people and stuff. So after a while, you know, I mean, you got to purge your subs, clean your subs out. I guess. Not this way, because it's naturally going to happen anyway, but... I don't watch Fresh and Fit like that, y'all. Shout outs to him, but I don't watch him like that. Not as much as like you know, when they first start. You know, when the stuff happens, obviously, you know, we kind of go through it, but you know.
Eventually copped a plea and posted on their community tab an apology to their fans and a wish of luck to Abba and Preach.
Best of luck to Abba and Preach in their future endeavors. See you guys tonight for a Fresh and Fit After Hours. What do you think about their apology?
They apologize to their supporters. He didn't apologize to me or my wife or my country.
Although they did cop a plea, they didn't really apologize to Abba and Preach. More so, they apologized to their fans. And even still, they got cooked for their response, so they had to respond once again on live with an actual apology. But at this point, the damage was already done. It became obvious he didn't mean it. He was only doing it because they're hemorrhaging subscribers by the thousands. Because of this drama, everyone who had an issue with Fresh and Fit came out of the woodworks. It's like the whole time there was an animosity for them in the YouTube space. They had such a vitriolic and mobile fan base that no one dared call them out, lest they have an army of men attacking them. It was only once Abba and Preach revealed the chinks in their armor that everyone realized, okay, wait, these guys are not beyond reproach. From there, it was an avalanche. You had women coming out with proof of Myron telling them the only way they can get on the podcast is if they sleep with him.
And he said, no problem, I collab directly with girls I date, no pressure though. And I was like, so if we aren't dating, you don't want to collab? Because he's never even asked me on a date at this point.
Well, this is the thing. What's going on, Miss V? Good to see you. Shout outs to Miss V in the place to be. Yes, good to see you. The sad thing about all of this shit too, though, is that Fresh and Fit are the guys that the space should have been helping. You know what I'm saying? Or the type of guys that the space has helped, or they look for help. So, it's like when other people are watching that, people have discrepancies against it, but when other people are watching them do the same thing, they have the same. They're. We'll get to this later. I'll let you know. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all.
This is the leader of what? Like 1 million men? So 1 million or so men who ostensibly have never had a real interaction with women, or at least very limited interactions. They're following the actions and words of this poor man's Harvey Weinstein. This is game. It didn't stop there. There was another girl who also accused Myron of getting her pregnant. Although that one didn't have much proof to back it up, I don't even believe it myself. It still came out. Myron still had to address it. But wait, there's more. At this time, it wasn't just people who knew them personally or had bad experiences with them. Arguably, more damaging were the channels that came from this whole thing.
Hold on, my bad. What I was saying was like Fresh and Fit, they're the type of guys that the space should be helping or vowed to help. And a lot of guys in the space, they got mad, when a guy says, hey, you're not a player, or hey, you're not this, or even if a nigga say, oh, you're not red pill, they get mad, when they probably aren't. They just get mad. There's just a bunch of dudes that get mad, and their excuse is, oh, well, I'm a nerd, or I'm a geeky guy, or whatever. Because, see, the space is behind in life. The space is it's riddled with arrested development. And what you have in the manosphere, which is like the biggest lie ever, you have a lot of nigger nerds hiding behind, being quote unquote educated lames or pookies and ray rays. You know what I'm saying? There's not that much archetypes to actually explain the type of guys that are in this space and stuff like that. And it's just funny as hell that they get mad at players and other guys or alphas or whatever the hell they call them these days that are winning with women when they want to win with women. And when and they get mad at the response that they get from men and women. And then when you have other men or women in the space around displaying the same characteristics that they do, they get mad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, Myron ain't a player. It's like, nigga, you ain't a player. You shouldn't even be worried about if somebody else is a player for the most part, especially if you sitting up there watching them, worried about if they a player all damn day. And you're not taking the information and getting any of the things that you want done. And that's why you got a lot of goofy dudes running around here on a crusade trying to, and these are dudes that are acting like if they weren't in the same position, they wouldn't act the same way. That's the funny part. That's the part that need to be talked about. Oh, Fresh got a hot Asian chick pregnant. But you would have done the same thing, if not worse. She would have been able to step all over you. It's lames critiquing lames. A lot of things have been unsaid and unaddressed. Let's get it.
Who are completely removed bystanders. O'Shea Duke Jackson, Spencer Cornelia, Playback, and many more were channels with decent to good followings.
How do these people know our sector? Putting out documentaries. How do these people know our sector and steal from our sector? Man, this is crazy. I'm doing well, Miss B. How you doing on this lovely Sunday? And shout outs to everybody here on the lovely Sunday. Make sure you guys double tap the screen, subscribe, hit the like button. Getting warmed up, y'all. Support the show. Hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. Player talk. Let's get it.
Before Fresh and Fit, but all this controversy made them pop to another level. And they're all more or less going strong to this day. There was a whole industry at this point surrounding calling out the sheer hypocrisy of these guys. We had channels that arguably were born out of this whole thing. Coach Whitepill, Kevin Ray Wilder, John Anthony Lifestyle, all really were made from this, or got their channels revived from it at least. Well, at least it lasted for a short period of time.
Bruh.
Even my guy Duke.
Coach Whitepill. Rest in peace, Coach Red Pill. White Manosphere was doing Coach Red Pill dirty.
To Don, no relation, had his channel really explode off critiquing Fresh and Fit. Point is, they had lots of people coming after them. Also, lots of people distancing themselves from them. People that used to rock with them and co-sign them. Now, they're starting to see the millions of subscribers attacking them, and the thousands of subs jumping ship. And they thought, I want no parts in this. One of those people was Kevin Samuels. First off, rest in peace. Anyone dying at such a young age is always a tragedy. But we gotta talk about the real, especially those of you who purport to be a high-value man. Isn't the whole thing about being masculine and compartmentalizing emotion from fact? Keep that in mind as you go through this part. Before Kevin Samuels passing and during this whole F&F is over party, Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit had a beef behind closed doors. Kevin Samuels, being as calculated and smart as he is, never publicly addressed it. But after his passing, everyone involved did. There's multiple sides to the story, so I'll list each one. Give my take on it, and you guys can choose what you think makes the most sense. The people like O'Shea claim that Kevin Samuels called him and said he should stop supporting F&F because they're a brand risk and bad people.
And I'm going to tell you how I know that.
No, that's not what it is. It had more to do with Donovan Sharp. It had more to do with Donovan Sharp. Nice try, though.
Fresh and Fit and Alvin and Preach beef broke out. I was taking Fresh and Fit side until I got a call one day. Kevin called me and said, hey, man, take all those videos down against Alvin and Preach, man. I'm like, what's going on? He was like, man, listen, I'm going to tell you certain things right now that you need to know, and Fresh and Fit was wrong. So we had a conversation. I was living in Poland at the time, about 2 hours. All the little dirty things that y'all was doing, I'm gonna get into it in this video.
It seems to have started because Kevin Samuels asked them to change their time slot because they're competing. Kevin felt owed that because he helped them get a big buzz originally.
We typically never stream at the same times, especially if we know each other, right? So if I know you and I got a show at 10.
But they didn't have the same audience. Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit did not have the same audience. Real talk.
It's disrespectful if I'm your boy to start a show at the same time that you got, because that's my time slot. It's what we do. So I'm not going to help you build your audience.
And honestly, the Manosphere was an open market at the time. The Manosphere was an open market at the time. So time slots wouldn't even have been a big deal.
So you can stream at the same time as me, which is what Kevin did. All right. So Kevin was like, look, I got my show at this time. Why don't you guys respect the fact that I have my show at this time? Look, I've been doing it.
Yeah. So eliminate the competition. That's what that is. Kevin Samuels told me not to live stream. Man, I brushed that shit off. I'm like, man, listen, man. I know what the market wants. I'm a young dude, modern. Like, I know where this is going. I've used technology like this, you know. I know what the hell I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I wouldn't talk about it. Plain and simple. If I haven't done enough research on something, wouldn't talk about it. That shit right there was to eliminate the competition. And he was doing late shows. I was doing the third shift. Kevin, some of his shows even started when I was live, you know. But he knows for the most part, like a lot of people don't care about certain material after a certain time. But the real Manosphere, nah, man, we was getting it in overnight. I made my bones overnight, third shift. You know, let's go.
This show since 2020 at this time, and I'm the one that brought you guys the audience, and I didn't even charge you guys. And then they did some collaborations. They was using Kevin. They wanted to pay Kevin and all that.
Kevin apparently also wanted payment as well, which I personally do think is kind of crazy. Why charge for something that, while benefited FNF more, also benefited you? Up to this point, I think
What's going on, Kane? Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Kevin Samuels was wrong to ask for payment for a video because apparently, now take this with a grain of salt because Donovan is a genuine pathological liar. Kevin Samuels wanted half the revenue from the video or something like that, which is completely outlandish. But I do think he's cool to ask for the time slot. And since they're friends and he did help them, I think it would make sense for FNF to oblige if they can. But apparently, things really got bad when it was discovered that FNF was calling Kevin Samuels the F slur behind his back, saying he'd beat his and things like that.
So the reason why Kevin Samuels didn't like you is because you was going behind his back, calling him homosexual names as well as Abba and Preach.
Now, this is the story told according to Kevin Samuels' camp, but according to FNF, it's a different story. Fresh and Fit state a big reason for them insulting Kevin Samuels behind the scenes.
There is no Kevin Samuels camp. It's just Kevin. What the hell?
Because they were just competitive like that. And they want to surpass him, obviously, so that's how he riled his team up. I think there may be some truth to this, but if you're truly friends and there's no underlying animosity.
Absolutely. 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 Kane was here throughout the third shift. Let's go.
The words you might use are, we're going to be bigger than Kevin Samuels one day, or we got to reach Kevin Samuels heights. Probably not. We're going to be bigger than that. That's Kevin Samuels.
So here's the story. Basically, long story short, guys, what happened was there was an issue. I'm going to sum it up for your audience so that they don't like get bored or whatever. But there was an issue between us and Kevin Samuels and the time slot. He wanted a certain time slot. We abided by it. We said, all right, cool, bro, no worries. And we were pushing our show back for the time slot. Then I quickly realized that it wasn't necessarily about the time slot. He just kind of didn't want to work with us anymore.
The difference at this point in his story is the motivation. Apparently, he thinks it was mainly motivated by Kevin Samuels wanting to not be associated with them or share a fan base, which I think we can all understand why.
We were bringing on, young girl bimbos in Miami in person and roasting them. So it was a completely different lane. It wasn't the same. And Kevin was targeting mostly the African-American community. Maybe he felt like we're overlapping with him. That's fine. He's entitled to feel that way. But what ended up happening after that was, since we had this rift, right? He, when Abba and Preach started talking shit about us, he went ahead and did a collab with them right in the middle of the beef. Now, mind you, he had not done a collab with anybody that he had worked with prior to that. So he only did a collab with Abba and Preach because he saw it.
Sad part was that eventually Abba and Preach would have turned on Kevin too. Okay. Oh, shit. Hold on, y'all. That's the crazy part. The sad part is that Abba and Preach would have turned on Kevin. Hold on. Like I said, it makes no sense getting rid of your ops. It makes no sense getting rid of your ops because you're going to be food next.
The team that finally shot Fresh and Fit into the mainstream was Kevin Samuels. His appearance on FNF through a phone call was the first time they went viral with Kevin Samuels, and the video went viral. The stream itself.
Hold on.
Treatment if she flakes, and they're like, oh my God, you're treating her like a dog. And it's like, what it's really come down to is this. Women don't want to be held accountable for
build your audience so you can stream at the same time as me, which is what Kevin did. All right. So Kevin was like, look, I got my show at this time. Why don't you guys respect the fact that I have my show at this time? Look, I've been doing this show since 2020 at this time. And I'm the one that brought you guys the audience, and I didn't even charge you guys. And then they did some collaborations. Who was using Kevin? They didn't want to pay Kevin and all that.
Kevin apparently.
See, that's cap because Fresh and Fit was going to take off anyway. So.
They also wanted payment as well, which I personally do think is kind of crazy. Why charge for something that, while benefited FNF more, also benefited you? Up to this point, I think Kevin Samuels was wrong to ask for payment for a video because apparently, now take this with a grain of salt because Donovan is a genuine pathological liar. Kevin Samuels wanted.
And if Kevin Samuels was going to build a studio in Miami, especially with the gear list that I gave him, he would have eventually tried to build an equivalent show to Fresh and Fit. ironically enough.
half the revenue from the video or something like that, which is completely outlandish. But I do think he's cool to ask for the time slot. And since they're friends and he did help them, I think it would make sense for FNF to oblige if they can. But apparently things really got bad when it was discovered that FNF was calling Kevin Samuels the F slur behind his back, saying he'd beat his and things like that.
So the reason why Kevin Samuels didn't like you is because you was going behind his back, calling him homosexual names as well as Abba and Preach.
Now, this is a story told according to Kevin Samuels' camp, but according to FNF, it's a different story. Fresh and Fit state a big reason for them insulting Kevin Samuels behind the scenes was because they were just competitive like that. And they wanted to surpass him, obviously, so that's how he riled his team up. I think there may be some truth to this, but if you're truly friends and there's no underlying animosity, the words you might use are, we're going to be bigger than Kevin Samuels one day, or we got to reach Kevin Samuels' heights. Probably not. We're going to be bigger than that. That's Kevin Samuels.
So here's the story. Basically, long story short, guys, what happened was there was an issue. I'm going to sum it up for your audience so that they don't like get bored or whatever. But there was an issue between us and Kevin Samuels and the time slot. He wanted a certain time slot. We abided by it. We said, all right, cool, bro, no worries. And we were pushing our show back for the time slot. Then I quickly realized that it wasn't necessarily about the time slot. He just kind of didn't want to work with us anymore.
The difference at this point in his story is the motivation.
Eliminate the competition. Y'all are not the first ones that he told not to go live or do live streams or be at a certain time slot.
Apparently, he thinks it was mainly motivated by Kevin Samuels wanting to not be associated with them or share a fan base, which I think we can all understand why.
We were bringing on, young girl bimbos in Miami in person and roasting them. So it was a completely different lane. It wasn't the same. And Kevin was targeting mostly the African-American community. Maybe he felt like we're overlapping with him. That's fine. He's entitled to feel that way. But what ended up happening after that was, since we had this rift, right? He, when Abba and Preach started talking shit about us, he went ahead and did a collab with them right in the middle of the beef. Now, mind you, he had not done a collab with anybody that he had worked with prior to that. So he only did a collab with Abba and Preach because he saw it as, okay, this is a chance to go ahead and attack Fresh Fit.
And then he reveals Kevin Samuels collabed with Abba and Preach at a pretty unfortunate time for them, pointing towards it being a calculated attack, kicking them while they're down. To me, I bet the real story is somewhere in between. If I were a betting man, I bet that Kevin Samuels probably was annoyed at the things that were said behind closed doors, rightfully so. Probably was also annoyed and felt like his lane was being encroached on, and arguably rightfully so. And Kevin Samuels was probably looking at them and thinking, oh hell nah, I can't have my name attached to these guys. I gotta be in music videos with Future and interviews with Nicki Minaj in the mainstream. I can't be co-signed with these kind of allegations. But I also think there was probably an aspect of fear.
That's not it. That's not it. They weren't. Kevin Samuels wasn't in the hip hop niche. I mean, Kevin Samuels was in the hip hop niche more than he was in the manosphere niche.
Them overtaking him. And jealousy as well. When this accusation was levied against Abba and Preach, saying that they're jealous of Fresh and Fit's success, and that's why they're attacking them, it didn't make sense because they're quite literally in two separate distinct lanes. And if anything, Abba and Preach could just make videos reacting to their drama. But FNF and Kevin Samuels had damn near a one-to-one audience at that point. They wanted to see women get roasted on live, and both provided that. So, because of that,
we need at least 2 contributors. Please hit the like button, support the show. It's Player Talk Radio. We need at least 2 contributors. Please hit the like button, support the show. Let's go.
See a personality type like Kevin Samuels also considering that when making his moves. But either way, Kevin Samuels cut ties with them at this point. And from here, everyone was against FNF. And it didn't seem like much could get worse. FBI, open up! Oh yeah, forgot about that. Allende. This is the man who really took it to another level. Allende, an ex-co-worker from Fresh and Fit, broke into the Fresh and Fit studio to confront Myron mid-podcast. This was must-see TV at the time. This really brought the Jerry Springer to YouTube at this point. This is probably Fresh and Fit's darkest hour, well, at least up to this point. Allende and his friend Large were upset for a myriad of reasons. Some smaller, some bigger, some valid, some not so valid. He had an issue with them not giving him credit for getting girls on the show, which I feel like is kind of reaching.
Me and Large met because I was bringing the girls on the podcast, and the entire time I'm working away to push this thing, to get these guys off the ground, and get these guys established, and get the engine fucking going.
I mean, it's called the Fresh and Fit show, not the casting coordinator and photographer show. They also had an issue with Myron's integrity and behavior. Apparently, Myron wanted to edge him out of the podcast and get someone else to source girls because Allende couldn't be controlled. Now, this one is very interesting. Now, I'll explain why. I originally wasn't too sure about this because as someone who's employed and employs, there's times where someone's really good at their job, has things like reliability issues, attitude issues, and just general incompatibility with the vision or with the team. In these cases, I might look for someone else to work with them or just give their job to someone else if it gets too much to deal with. So at first, I kind of sympathized with Myron and assumed maybe it was that. But Allende said something very, very illuminating.
Let me ask you guys a question. When you think about this for a minute, how many guys do you know that stutter? Just percentage-wise, out of 10 guys, how many of those guys would stutter? I could find 10 guys like this, and not one of them would stutter. How the fuck is it that Myron finds himself around 3 guys that stutter? A team of 4, and 3 of them stutter. What I'm making, that's not a coincidence. Myron is an expert at preying on insecurity. He's an expert at finding people that are useful.
And stuttering don't work like that. Stuttering don't work like that. I never used to stutter until I hung around um a group of friends and stuff like that. And I guess some of them stutter. And that's when I start stuttering. Sometimes too, if you know anything about psychology, it's something called mirroring. And it you got righteous mirroring, you have, intentional mirroring, you got subconscious mirroring. Sometimes it's subconscious mirroring. Sometimes you end up stuttering to not necessarily build comfort, but to also it's a form of communication. Stuttering is also a form of communication, even though it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an impediment, you know. So stuttering is also a form of communication.
That are skillful, but lack the confidence to get what they deserve, right? And what they're owed. And those are the people that he can exploit.
There's more later in this down.
What's going on, JR? How are you?
Video that supports Allende's point. But even with just this, and what we know so far, I believe this is 100% true. Think about it. His entire main team. Who's Chris? A man with a stutter, overweight, and a drinking problem. Very clearly with low self-esteem and a punching bag to not just Myron, but Fresh as well. Who's Mo? Overweight, no stutter, but very clearly lacking in confidence and is a punching bag to Myron as well. And finally, who's Fresh? A punching bag to Myron, has a stutter and not the brightest tool in the shed. All this to say, it seems like Myron's less interested in building a powerhouse podcast team and more interested in surrounding himself with the cast of people he can control. I mean, with half of them stumbling over their own words and barely keeping up, it's clear this was not a crew you'd recruit if you're after a polished and
Yeah, frustrating communication. Absolutely, Miss V. The thing is, too, if you say ooh or or you're thinking a little too much, you're supposed to pause and then say what you're saying. Because sometimes and or any other speech impediments, like it can break people's it can break people's why am I drawing blanks on words today? It can break people's it can break people, like it can break the sentence. It can break people's from what's the word I'm looking for? It can break people's comprehension. All right, it can break people's comprehension. Yeah, I say too, and honestly too, um, look, did it just a minute ago. It's in my best interest, and I have books on this that I need to go back and read for speech, because we talk. Yeah, it's a filler word, absolutely, because we talk, right? Because we talk, we speak. People don't have to think about that and stuff like that, or read a book to sharpen up your speech or your skills, your speaking skills. They just think that, oh, this person is just easily. No, it takes a lot of effort to appear effortless. Support the show, please. It takes a lot of energy and off time to learn certain things and form and develop certain habits. But with the whole the thing about it, y'all, is with the whole stuttering and the ums and stuff like that, sometimes it makes you closer to the person when you do that. So don't think of correction as a way of building trust or rapport or comfort with somebody. Sometimes when you mirror them, it it it's, I wouldn't say softens them up, but it actually lets them come around to you more often and be a little bit more vulnerable with you. People have expression styles and stuff like that. Like some people say, "You see what I'm saying?" Or "Do you understand what I'm saying?" Or "Do you smell me?" Or what I'm saying making sense? They use certain words and terms and stuff like that to build, rapport or comfort. In the pickup community, we call it comfort. Building comfort with somebody. Building comfort is like, getting someone comfortable with you, or getting comfortable with someone. It's basically real estate. All right, let's get it.
Insightful podcast. But if what you're going for is control, well, then this ragtag lineup is exactly who you look for. It's almost like he handpicked a team to make himself look sharper and more confident in comparison. Like he chose everyone based on their willingness to be bullied first and skill and expertise second. He's not leading because he's an expert guiding other talented minds. He's leading because they're so inept they have no choice but to follow. This makes it all too easy to see why Allende said he felt threatened. If we're to believe Allende's telling the truth and was so good at his job, we can also take a look at the personality of Allende, who seems to be a lot more self-assured and confident compared to the...
Not even that. Some of these guys, this is why I like to podcast and know what I'm doing for the most part before I build a team of anything. I like to podcast by myself sometimes. Because after a while, other people going to try and want to, be the star. And it's like, this is not that type of show. Other people going to want to, podcast and be the star and eat off of what you've built, even though they're already eating off of what you built. But other people going to want to be the star. They're going to want a mic and a camera on them too. They want to interject. And it's like, bro, can you I know it's a topic where you want to goddamn jump in, but you're here to hold a camera. They're not talking to you. First of all, they're not even supposed to know someone's behind the camera. I get it, but certain things you just gonna have to sit out. You're here to hold the camera. Why, niggas want to be the star on your dime. Yeah, after a while, you better off alone. I tell all these people that be thinking that they're going to start podcasts with their buddies and their friends and shit like that. I'm like, shit, nigga, that sounds good and shit like that, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You better, yeah, my panels back in the day was crazy. My panels back in the day were crazy. These days, they're more a little bit better and chilled and mild. But, and I mean, and if it's a panel thing, that's a little bit more acceptable because you invite them onto the show. But like if it's like co-workers and you in a physical studio and stuff like that, and then Fresh ended up doing it anyway. Fresh and Fit ended up doing anyway. The engineer had his own camera. They start asking dudes off camera their opinion and stuff. It just it gets goofy. And then it's a whole team. Of course, there's a whole production team behind it, but not everybody needs to be on camera. And honestly, not everybody's opinion needs to be heard, respectfully. If you want to be on the show, then pay somebody to be the cameraman and say, hey, I want to be on the panel. Pay somebody to do what you were doing. And hopefully they do it well. Or if they're trusted to deal with the equipment or whatever, Most people want to be a star on your dime.
Your others. Compelling story, I can't lie. Because let's be real, it's hard to see any real value here beyond the fact that Myron gets to play the big fish in a small, very shallow pond. And sorry, Myron, I'm not exactly feeling
okay, and that's not what's going on. What happens if you put two introverts together, the less introverted of the two is going to be the extrovert. And that's what happened. Fresh is an introvert. Myron is an introvert. I mean, Fresh and Myron is an introvert, and Fresh is an introvert. So Myron's going to be the more extroverted out of both of them, or outspoken. And it's funny, I'm just now noticing it. Fresh comes before Myron, Fresh and Fit. You got to say Fresh first before Fit. Anyway.
Generous enough to give you the benefit of the doubt here. Another issue Allende and Large had with Fresh and Fit was when Fresh and Fit hit 100,000 subscribers. They were set to have a party of some sort. If you guys know FNF and their milestone celebrations, they're all horrible, with no exception. Allende was the one who gave them the idea in the first place. They sold tickets for this event at $500 a pop.
Remember, this is a party to celebrate them getting 100,000 subscribers, and they're charging their supporters to come, right? Mind you, me and him, we had certain business dealings with them or what have you, but it was told on their podcast, this was before we found out anything about that we recently found out. It was told on their podcast that we were the reasons, called dead weight, we were the reasons as to why their party didn't go well, and they no longer wanted to.
Yeah, because you're doing too much. If you don't show up and point that camera, that's what they pay you for. Oh my God, they're charging their supporters, and oh my God, and show up and point the damn camera. That's not your business. Your business is to make sure you show up, go get paid, probably listen, laugh a little bit, and take your ass home. Right. And it'll sound crazy too, Miss V, if you say fit and fresh. You know? Fit and fresh. You know, you get a little sweaty when you get fit. But anyway.
Wanted to cut ties with us and fire us even though we didn't work for them.
This predictably had its issues and people were scammed. FNF blamed all the shortcomings on these two.
What do we find out? We find out that a group of people that had been to the party who paid hundreds of dollars to be there, at a minimum $100 to $500 to be there, that Myron that they wanted a refund because the party wasn't lit the way. They were promised that there would be a bunch of girls, a certain type of drinks, a certain type of, aesthetic or whatever, and it wasn't.
Which
they
would
said,
have been.
They said on their platform, the Fresh Fit people said on their platform that it was lit and all this, and they lied to all of you guys. The people that were there have screenshots, they have recordings and all that. The party was a failure. It was a failure, which is why. Me too.
Okay. And you're part of the production team. So for image purposes, make it look and seem like it was lit. That's your job. When WWE, when the wrestling ain't lit, or the crowd doesn't react, you know what they do? They add in fake crowd noise. When the crowd doesn't react, they add in fake crowd noise. When they want certain things to certain people, when they want to get like a certain a certain reaction, and they don't get it from a live crowd, they create it. When certain moves are botched, they move the cameras. Yes, it's called production. Is it corny? Is it dumb? Maybe. But that's not your business. You get paid what you pay, get paid, and then go home. That's the problem with niggas. Niggas want to be a diva on your time. It's like, nigga, you just secure the girls to be there and just make sure they're somewhat accommodated. All that other extra shit you getting into, payments and refunds and shit like that, that's not your problem.
Well, actually, me too, actually. Where was I going? Oh yeah, so the party was a failure according to them and a lot of the people that were there, and yet they tried to blame and pin it on us, to their subscribers. Now we find out today this magical little thing that the subscribers say that they contacted Myron, and when they were in contact with Myron, I think it was face to face. What happened? Yeah, face to face. The next day, we find out that that when they ask for a refund, that Myron tells them basically, no, they're not getting a refund. And the reason is why they're not getting a refund is because me and Allende, us two here, were the ones who collected the money, got the money, we basically stole the money.
So essentially all this stuff was bubbling up in the background, and it all came out during the Abba and Preach beef. He goes on to list and honestly really prophesize and foreshadow a lot of things that ended up taking place. The fact that all the staff followed Myron's lead and became outright douches to the girls. The fact that he doesn't actually care about the men he's helping. He hit the nail on the head, but it was because of this that Allende made the boneheaded decision breaking into the studio to confront him. Funnily enough, there was a conspiracy that Abba and Preach was a mastermind behind the whole break-in, but that was just hearsay. Allende and Abba but both said that's not the case. That break-in was the talk of YouTube for a good few weeks, and Alba, Preach, and everyone else was making a killing reacting to it. Keep in mind, all these allegations were happening either simultaneously or in quick succession, one after another after another. This got so big, they had to respond comprehensively to all of them. They copied the plea deal once again and took a far different tone they originally had when things were just starting out. It was 5 hours worth of responses. They maintained 20K views the entire 5 hours, which is insane. And they got decent reception to what they said, especially within their niche. Eventually, the allegations, they did die down. The general hate towards Fresh and Fit and different, more general critiques continued and continued until yet another misstep and the downfall was taken. Fresh and Fit went on a copyright abuse rampage. I love how all these guys say they care about free speech, but always end up being the snowflakes they complain about. People didn't already hate them before, they surely did now. In the YouTube world, false copyright strikes are a cardinal sin, rightfully so. It can end up getting someone's channel deleted and their livelihood taken. Now, it's unlikely, especially the bigger the channel, but YouTube has a broken system and people like Fresh and Fit and the Fake and the Pretender abuse this. These guys know that the critiques against them are very real and thus very damaging. So instead of addressing them or, I don't know, changing their actions, meh, too hard. I'll just try and silence it and then also turn around and complain about big tech and the Jews silencing me. Fresh and Fit was giving out copyright strikes like it's Halloween candy. Channels, big or small, were getting hit. 20+ were sent to Abba and Preach alone. But Fresh and Fit did not think too far ahead because YouTube eventually told Fresh and Fit they have 7 days to revoke the copyright strikes or their channel will be deleted. It was a beautiful display of poetic justice in the end. This was so bad that Tim Pool, yes, the guy confirmed to have been paid by Russia, who espouses all the same things Fresh and Fit do, even called them out on their behavior.
And won't leave and does it for 4 months. What are you going to do?
Well, you can't file a DMCA over it.
Apparently not.
Marlon was comparing people making videos critiquing him as someone breaking into his store and hitting him with his own broom. No comment. If you think this is as bad as it gets, I wish that were true. Oh, buddy, it gets worse. The next big controversy went viral not just on YouTube, but on Twitter, specifically Black Twitter, one of the scariest places to go viral at ever. And it was because of Myron's stated preferences. When asked about a dating app called Black, he said this.
Oh, it's funny, I never used that one, bro, but hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
bro, I'm good.
You know, sometimes if they're, you know, red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And people lost their mind. And then afterwards, after the backlash, Myron's like, listen, what's wrong with having a preference?
When it comes to dating and your personal preferences,
It's
no
an
one
issue.
bats an eye. When women,
I mean, it's all locker room talk. Women can get on here with impunity and be like, hey, I don't date dark-skinned guys or black guys. I don't date light-skinned guys. Like, niggas will get mad at Fresh and then, like, literally say some wild shit about Drake and Kendrick. Literally. That's how gossipy and syrupy niggas are these days. Niggas are dumb.
say I want a man that's 6 feet tall, makes a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. Those are considered preferences. But if I say, hey, man, I don't date black girls like that. Oh, God.
You hate black women.
His defense was, it's just my preference in relation to preferring a certain race over another. It definitely does raise eyebrows, but whether or not it's racist is a little bit more nuanced. Attraction isn't necessarily a choice. It's often shaped by personal preferences, experiences, and even societal influence. All things we don't necessarily control. So if someone tends to find people of a certain skin color more or less attractive, that's one thing. And I do feel like it's common to have that to varying degrees, one way or the other. But when you take it to the level of I don't date black women, period, it's a whole different ballgame. Now you're not just talking about a preference, you're outright excluding an entire group of people based solely on the skin color. It's like looking at two identical resumes, same qualifications, same experience, but you toss one aside strictly because they're black. It's a pretty clear-cut case of racism.
You just contradicted yourself. He says he doesn't date black women. That's his preference, and that's what he wants to do. And that's what that's another thing that's annoying as fuck. How people used to talk crazy about you know, black men, the black manosphere, black locker room talk and stuff like that. Forgetting that a lot of them culture appropriate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them culture appropriate and don't even know. Like a lot of people, and these are just random people. And the reason why these talking points hit so hard and why people steal them is that a lot of people think that they're relationship experts. You know what I'm saying? Prior to the manosphere and some of the stuff that we in our intellectual property being reused and recanned and taken off, a lot of people believe Even the nerd that's having problems with women, he believes he's a relationship expert. Oh, it'll never happen. Oh, they're so certain, right? And then what's annoying about these newer cats is that if you thought that people believed that they were relationship expert of yesteryear and they didn't know nothing, imagine people now using your talking points, butchering them, and including them and integrating them into their false sense of expertise in relationships. Imagine that. That's what gets annoying. It's like trying to address two things at one time and it's making you cockeyed. It's like, first of all, you stole that. Second of all, you don't believe that. Third of all, you're not a relationship expert. And the stuff that you're stealing, you're not even using them in proper context. There was a time where people used to fear looking dumb or sounding dumb. That is no longer here anymore, y'all.
No? To be fair, Myron did say he preferred lighter skinned women, but he also did say he wasn't down with the brown and I don't dabble in the dark, which kind of points me in the direction of it being a rule rather than a preference. Black Twitter did not take kindly to this. Yet another big hit in their reputation in the mainstream. But within their niche and their subscribers, this was
because he came from Black YouTube. Myron didn't come from the white side of YouTube. He came from Black YouTube. And he said a Shaniqua, which is just another term for, it's a placeholder word for Keisha. You have a whole black pill sector running around calling people curry cells and rice cells and all kinds of shit. Get with it.
par for the course. And most of his fans agree with what he said, so nothing really happened. The next big controversy was much like the last. Very damaging for the greater YouTube and Twitter audience, but not so damaging in their own niche, like the Abba and Preach beef was. This one was levied against them by H3H3, using the info given to them from a girl Mine was trying to get with after the show. Basically, she stayed after the show because she forgot her wallet. In the interest of time, the whole situation was blown way out of proportion. The girl just came off as someone who was looking for clout. Her story and her actions completely didn't align. She'd say, I didn't want to see him or stay with him, but then ended up in his house. She was so turned off and disinterested. But when he told her to go get mouthwash, she went and did it and then came back. If I listened to her commentary and not her actions, it would be a completely different thing. It was such a bad allegation that even Abba and Preach themselves called it out and defended Fresh and Fit. Despite this, the girl herself even said Myron did not assault her when Ethan tried to goad her to saying it.
This is a very disturbing story, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting, but at that point,
I think he may have assaulted you. I mean, at this point, I
mean, I don't want to say that, but like again, like it was my experience.
He also implicationed you a little bit too. The way they split you guys up, and
yeah,
I think you got implicationed. I think you got Dennis systemed. If you know what that is.
Yeah. No.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
Ethan kept going with it. He already doesn't like those guys, which don't get me wrong, neither do I. But that's all the more reason we should talk about what he actually did, like the fact he's so desperate to get with girls from the podcast. But yeah, Myron debunked everything. He eventually dropped text that did not align with what she said.
So she contacted me. So how would I demand to get her number if she was the one that contacted me first? But, right? So she's saying, "Oh, I didn't talk with him. I didn't text him back." Just go play it through real quick, Chris. We're gonna analyze parts of this conversation later on.
Shout out to Tim Pool, man.
Shout out to our guy Tim Pool. But look, she's not texting me. Look at that. That looks like a conversation to me.
Wow.
Okay. That looks like a conversation to me.
God damn, we guys buying SS?
Again, I don't like these two. It was clear she was trying to save face and seem like she wasn't interested when she very obviously was for whatever reason. Even though some people, including Abba and Preach, were on F&F side for this, they're the most hated. So we want to believe they did bad even when they might not have. There's still a subset of people, namely H3H3 and their fans, who maintain he did all this. By this point, Fresh and Fit were reaching their peak or getting close to it. The name is widely known. In fact, I'd wager that if I spoke to the average person, they'd probably know Fresh and Fit, at least heard of them, over Abba and Preach. They lost 50,000 subscribers, had gotten that back, then some. Broken into the mainstream many more times with collabs with the Tate Brothers, Brittany Renner, DJ Academics, and other viral videos and kickouts. They were doing what they do best and getting rewarded for it. The whole time, Abba and Preach had actually forgiven Fresh and Fit and stopped uploading on them. Just kidding. They were uploading constantly and getting anywhere from 800,000 views to 1.5 million views per video. Myron, although he ignored it for the most part, was pissed. In his eyes, Abba was damaging his brand, cultivating a hate base against him, and eating off him all at the same time. This anger and animosity that honestly was probably a calculated and predicted outcome by Abba finally bubbled over in what I like to call the full-blown self-destruction of the F&F podcast. Up until now, they've at least attempted to course correct on every mistake. The allegations, the false strikes, the lies, the incongruence with their teachings and actions, everything did hurt them, but nothing gave them a fatal blow. But this one here, this was the beginning, no doubt. Myron, who like to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people to keep it safe on YouTube. Both grifters, both banned off of YouTube, and both extremely racist. I think you're seeing the picture being painted here. They went on a 30-minute racist rant, calling Abba and Preach monkeys, making fun of their looks and anything in between.
What the yo, every time
Zerka himself partook in some good old-fashioned neo-dog whistling, saying Preach needs to evolve and he's overdosing on the warrior gene.
Yo, Reach, you're overdosing on the warrior gene, bro.
And other lovely things just like that. It was so bad even Sneeko seemed uncomfy at times.
Yo, Reach, I don't even believe in this theory, but you gotta evolve. Whoa, you gotta evolve, bro. No, I'm not racist. I'm not racist.
But wait, there's more. But before that, you need some context. These guys didn't just randomly reveal their racist side on a random Monday. No, sir. They were overtly racist often. Dog whistling even more often at every race, but especially black people and Jewish people. Myron, Sneeko, and Zerka look up to this 26-year-old we'll call NF. You see, NF has some less than safe views. I'll just call them some Kanye in 2022 views. His ideas summed up are Medic people, and by association, black people, and every color of people for that matter, is what's wrong with the country. Full stop. Don't ask too many questions.
Well, Nick Fuentes is a whole virgin. I don't know what getting pussy has to do with not being racist, but it does have to do with maturity. He's a virgin.
Questions because it's not meant to be a rational thought grounded in reality or anything besides a mixture of cope and hatred and a want to feel like you know something the rest of the world doesn't know. So I know. You might be wondering, wait, a black guy co-branding with the Latino guy to talk about how that black guy is the worst thing on earth? Yeah, don't try to understand it. Myron doesn't even understand it. NF, his whole MO is plausible deniability, right? He can't outright say it, but he'll say every single talking point. He doesn't believe in the number of specific people killed during the you-know-what. Yes, the most documented and recorded event in world history. Yeah, it's wrong. He knows better. He also thinks that people of color are less than, lower IQ, and criminals. He wants an ethno state, and he thinks the messianic people are at the head of it all, trying to complete their ultimate plan, which is undermine the white race and world domination. Myron has behind the idea of, I'm racist to everyone, so it's fine. NF specifically says he's just a race realist, and he deals in the facts of the world, and he loves everyone, and he's a Christian. I guess I missed the passage in the Bible where Jesus said, thou shalt hate all Jews. Thou shalt create an ethno state. I was more familiar with when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them, and the foreigner residing among...
Oh my God. Nigga. Jesus was a Jew. Jesus was Jewish. Oh boy.
Among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, but you were foreigners in Egypt. Probably some Jewish psyop. But yeah, there's 3 rules, guys. So now you understand the backstory, you understand who they look up to, and you understand why they're acting like this. Never ask a woman her age, never ask a man his salary, and never ask an NF why, if it's really just about race and what the racists do, not the racists themselves, why can we not just kick out every criminal and low IQ person of any race? So yeah, now back to where we were in the timeline. It was after this stream that came another stream, and it was somehow worse. They used every slur in the book. All 3 of them were there, and wearing a hood over his head and spamming the N-word was Myron. I don't even want to play because I know YouTube will not take too kindly to it. It was that bad. So it was all laughs and insults and giggling and roasting at this point. And this lasted a good 2 months. The title of the video that Abba responded to was an end of Fresh and Fit. It wasn't so much a question, but rather a statement.
And guys, we the channel has been kicked off the YouTube partner program. I shouldn't be admitting this, but saving children, right? That was great, but saving you guys is better.
Yeah, man. I mean, look. I mean, I will say this. When they were doing that, nobody was talking about them. But when they were doing chicanery, now everybody wants to react and talk about them. I'm going to tell you something, y'all. You will never see nobody do a reaction video to somebody else helping the homeless. You will never see nobody doing a reaction video of somebody doing a good deed. I'm telling you.
This is tough, bro. They were kicked off the YouTube partner program. 98% of the revenue and their most reliable.
All the Crip Mac videos you see is him you know, dancing and drinking 40s and shit like that and doing debauchery. They don't show you Crip Mac feeding and giving back to his community. You know, they don't show you all these people giving back to their community like that. And best believe they be out there giving back to their community.
Source of income has been destroyed, and along with that, their growth. What incentive does YouTube have to promote your channel and your videos if you're not making them money anymore? So everything from their traction to their relevancy began to dry up. And for what? To tap dance and insult black people? To wake up the masses to the evil confederation of secret underground messianic people that everyone has been fooled by besides, of course, Myron and Fresh. Yeah, not worth the loss of...
Let me tell y'all something. Masons don't give a fuck about regular people. Y'all, the motherfuckers can't even read books. The Masonic symbols will go over your head.
70,000 USD monthly, if you ask me. Maybe my priorities are just messed
Masons
up.
are
Everyone
not
with a
worth.
functioning brain knows this. Even people like Fresh. You see, at this point, facts are starting to show in the relationship between Myron and Fresh. Up until now, Fresh just did whatever Myron said, no questions asked. The extent of his deviation from Myron's orders would be when Myron would talk about how tricking is bad, and all women in Miami are promiscuous and for the streets. Fresh would, of course, trick on women and wife up those same Miami girls. And to save face, he'd say, me and Myron don't agree on everything. But now, Fresh just lost a big chunk of his... That's all his cars, his rented Lambos, his penthouse jewelry. That's literally him. His only substance was that money. And on the fact that Myron was the one who was mostly obsessed with the conspiracies, and he really was the one to lead the charge into the alt-right. I just kind of felt like Myron led them down a path that wasn't good for them, and he was right. While Myron at least acted like he cared about anything more than just money, stating saving children was good, but it's better to be saving you guys. Fresh didn't offer anything past frustration of free speech.
I think at some point there was free speech where it was like, okay, you know what? Say what you got to say. We'll crucify you. But nowadays, free speech is kind of like, is it even a thing? I mean, not really.
This is a symptom of Myron controlling for controllability, yes man capabilities, and insecurity when hiring people. The people that he hires are just not going to be the best at their job. Fresh clearly didn't get the memo of we're supposed to be sad about the fact that we can't help men, not that we're losing money. Because at this point, that's their whole grip. But yeah, while everyone on the outside is laughing at FNF and dancing on their AdSense grave, their fans were rallying around them, donating through other sources more than ever before, and just trying to support them in every way they possibly can. Me personally, I say good riddance to all that money. They were completely fine with people losing their livelihoods during the DMCA strike era. They were talking to Abba Preach reckless, saying we're going to lap you guys, like they're completely untouchable.
Yeah. Next year, this time we're gonna lap you.
Few moments later,
the channel has been kicked off the YouTube partner program.
So I'm not going to lose sleep over this. But even still, though the downfall had definitely started and is well on its way, they still had the chance and opportunity to course correct. By now, their growth was stunted, no doubt. Most people who could have been a fan had already heard of FNF and are either a fan or never will be. Their style was getting a bit stale. People grew tired of the same questions, leading to angry kickouts, and the competition was starting to innovate in their own right, hosting debates, treating girls like humans, having girls who aren't just the average Miami thought, and more. One big draw was their guests too. Understand, this wasn't the time of old where Fresh and Fit had the mainstream attention they enjoyed. They were a clear and obvious brand risk, and thus, good brands and names stayed far, far away. The Whatever podcast wasn't as bad, so they could actually get some self-respecting people on the show, both women and men guests. It's only so many times you can watch the newest scammer on Money Monday, or watch the same out-of-touch grandpa talk about his book for the 50th time, or watch the same bald guy cosplay as a pimp, businessman, and a gang leader all in one. It got old real fast, and even at that, they still had their core base. The biggest supporters, if I were to guess, were coming from the men who were fully bought into what they were saying and looked to these guys for life advice, women advice, and just look up to them in general. They watch everything from their Money Mondays to their after-hours shows. The next free group just wants to watch the Jerry Springer-esque moments in the after-hours episodes. While the first group is very obviously smaller, they were the cash cow, the whales, the ones who were willing to break the most bread for these guys. They look up. It's exactly who you don't want to piss off. And of course, they did just that. Fresh, who already was the sidekick of the duo, who no one took seriously, got into some heat. I made a full video detailing this, so I will not be touching on this fully. Link to everything's in the description. But basically, Fresh, who was first in a debacle with a girl named Miranda, more info also in that video, got played the hell out of while he coped about her liking him for him. He did not learn his lesson and turned around and did the same thing with the sugar baby from China by the name of Jin Chen. Except this time, he got her pregnant, allegedly. No one really cared about that. It's Fresh. We can be brazenly incongruent. But Myron, we expect at least a step above. But in this scenario, Myron defended Fresh. Fresh just went against every last thing they espouse. Don't take a girl from Miami seriously. He did so. And she was an escort to boot. Don't trick on women. He bought her an expensive bracelet. Paid her rent for some time. And that's only what we know. Don't knock up one of these bimbos. That's exactly what he did, allegedly. Worse yet, they both weren't taking accountability for it. Fresh and Myron were coping. The flip was quick, decisive, and brutal. The Fresh and Fit Reddit that was slowly and slowly getting more and more poison against them.
I mean, Fresh took accountability for it. He said he gonna take what comes behind it. He literally did a whole stream where he took accountability for it. He shot up the club. And second of all, it's funny how people call them out, on being hypocrites and dealing with hoes and shit like that. And that call out's everywhere when the actual host does it. But they're not calling them out for just having hoes on the show. And it's so convenient how somebody can call you out for getting a broad pregnant and going behind, your audience's quote unquote back and dealing with some of the women that that you claim or tell them not to deal with, where they go behind the host back all the time and be sending those women money and are subscribed to those those women's channels and stuff like that, or OnlyFans. But it's like, yeah, I know they put them in front of you, but like, if y'all had a problem with hoes like that, or have a problem with the show host dating hoes like that, then why don't you call them out and try to get more quality women on the? Oh, I get it. Quality women don't really go on streams like that, and there's but so much times you can talk to Candace Owens. Gotcha. Like I said, and a lot of these niggas, they'll give up a good woman for a hoe. Straight up. Have you seen some of these dudes' baby mamas? That Daisy Fit Chen girl would make a lot of the man. Listen, Daisy Fit Chen is a schoolgirl compared to a lot of these dudes that baby mamas. Just sit back and enjoy the show. Niggas don't like a mini-me.
Fully became an anti-fan haven. Even prior to this, anything pro-Fresh was disliked to hell. Now, it was hate for both Myron and Fresh. When Myron used to enjoy some level of support from them, but now, the core fan base, the guys donating thousands of dollars to call women low value and talk about how high value they are, knowing damn well they'd sell their undying souls for a hug from one of these girls. Well, now they're starting to think, wait, this is a bit inconsistent even for me. And the support slowly dwindled.
Yeah, you start to treat them like the same. You start to treat them the way you got treated as to why you on their show or around them anyway. You got a lot of dudes that are career dudes around here. They're career fake nerds trying to let y'all know that that players, the game ain't real, and the manosphere this and the manosphere that. And little do they know you're in tech and they should treat you with respect and all this other stuff. And you can't stand their pookie behavior. And then you turn around and do the same thing, but want somebody to believe that somebody else is a hypocrite.
It all came to a head when they did a response stream to the allegations. With the pent-up rage from Abba and Preach continually making videos at their expense, the humiliation Fresh just put the show through, the ever-dwindling support, both monetarily and generally, from their fans, and probably a sprinkle of PTSD from the last big controversy that the whole internet was speaking about regarding them, Myron was not happy. It started with Myron calling Abba since he still had his cell phone and asking him to put some gloves on. Picking him up on the office from years ago at this point to box Preach.
Put the gloves on. Back up what you gotta say with your fists.
Conveniently, he only wanted to box Abba, who never challenged him to a fight, and not Preach, who did challenge them and probably would beat the brakes off them. That wasn't all that was addressed in this. You see, Myron is kind of known for being what some call loyal, but I call it stupid. He prefers loyalty into blindly defending people at the expense of everything, no matter what, including but not limited to criminals and people who wouldn't do the same for you, i.e. Fresh. The only thing Fresh is thinking about is money, women, and coconuts in Barbados. No joke, that's all he can store up there. But Myron, being as short-sighted as he's been proven to be, loses his mind at the people.
So Fresh is racist, but you wasn't racist for saying what you just said. I don't think people hear themselves and they edit videos.
Rightfully calling Fresh out,
I was just saying.
only call man-child's meltdown.
It really bothers me when people talk about my friends, bro. Like, y'all don't get it. Like, it really does piss me off. When the Andrew Tate allegations came out, pissed me off. When people talk about Fresh, gets me mad. And when people talk shit about Sneeko, etc., if you're my friend, you're my friend. I'm with you, regardless of whether it's convenient or not. You in the chat that say you're loyal to a fault. Shut the up. That does not exist in my vocabulary loyal to a fault.
Loyalty is a beautiful thing. Honestly, if you ask me, it can be better than love sometimes. ESTG put it best. We know Brutus loved Caesar. We know Judas loved Jesus. So if there's one silver lining, it's the fact that Myron does seem to be a loyal person, evident in the fact that he didn't trash Destiny at any point during his divorce with Melina. That could have been prime content for him, and everyone in his niche was talking about it. All of his fans wanted him to as well, but he just wouldn't do it. It seemed, at least in this case, he stood on his principles. But like I said, it's for the wrong people most of the time. And also, it's at the expense of everything, including his integrity, his morals, and even his dignity. He finally snapped as he recounted everything he's been through and the millions they've lost due to all their actions.
We've been through hell together. We had people come at us. We've had death threats at us. People laugh at every time we go through some bullshit. People make allegations on us. People have tried to absolutely destroy us. You know who was around me the whole time? These guys. So you can say whatever the you want to say. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stand by the guys that stand by me, because you pieces of shit aren't there when I'm going through it. You pieces of shit aren't there when I'm figuring out what the fuck I'm going to do because we got demonetized. You weren't there when everyone in their mom came at us. You weren't there when I got the false accusation against me. You weren't there when this lied and said that I got her pregnant with her.
No, they were there. They were just laughing at you. And honestly, like I said, the space has deviated from what it was for. Like I said, it was to help guys. Guys like Myron. Hey.
Did it! And then you 3 years later, believe some bitch that makes the same allegations again! You I'm not going anywhere! I'm standing right here!
He smashed that cup live. Damn near opened the 8th gate going on this rant, and it would almost be touching if we didn't have the background on him that we do. Naturally, this was meme to oblivion. Abba and Preach used this for every subsequent intro in their videos.
Another day, another fresh and fit L.
Again!
At this point, they were a content farm for Abba and Preach and other commentary channels. Worse yet for them was that all the fans were still left with a bad taste in their mouth, because the main point of the video was to tell fans to shut up about the whole situation and that Myron holds Fresh accountable behind closed doors. Yeah, maybe, but there's very little evidence of that. People were noticing that. Adding the fact that one of their biggest points that the fans were saying is that Fresh doesn't take accountability, this led to many fans withdrawing their support. After this, Myron had a decision to make: accept his faults and change the way he runs things, listen to his fans, and do right by the people who watch it, people who support him financially, people he's employing and whose livelihood and job security hangs in the balance, or continue down his path. Well, as predicted, he lived out Kanye's lyrics in Can't Tell Me Nothing. He felt the pressure under more scrutiny, and what did he do? He acted more stupid. They went live with a stream by the name of The End of Fresh and Fit, We Quit. This stream was the worst fan reception yet, topping the last stream somehow, some way. They started off stating how they provided so much content for free while demonetized because they love helping men so much. They spoke about how they're going against the Matrix, the Jews, the feminists, all the rest of that.
We want to go places where other podcasts are scared to go. We want to make content about things that other podcasts are scared to make. And obviously, when you make content on certain things before October 7th, right, you get, you can go ahead and deal with some with some consequences for that, right?
They said all this to butter the fans up for the fact that they're going to be going behind a paywall for their after hours. The only thing anyone comes to the channel to watch. They're doing this through what they call Castle Club, where for the low price of $35 a month, you can gain the value that Fresh and Fit always provides. Needless to say, their fans were not happy. Not only have they turned their back against their core fan base, flip-flop more than a politician during election year, blew up his own podcast for an ideology that hates him, and then placed the bill for the team at the feet of the viewers. If I was a podcast and I did all those things I just listed, my last option would be to do what FNF did, well, then I'd have zero options because I would never do that. There's just some things that are just too shameful. But of course, they did it, and the result was horrible. The subreddit completely flipped. 99% of posts that are even about FNF are completely bashing FNF. At the time of this stream, 100% of them were. People were unsubscribing en masse, and no one felt bad for them. Worse yet, instead of saying, look guys, I'm sorry, this is my fault, and I'm coming to you guys in my time of need, don't feel obligated, and I understand the backlash. They insulted their own fans for not wanting to foot the bill that they had no part in accruing.
By the way, if you're a brokey in the chat, I'll call you a brokey just because you don't want to support. That's understandable. What I will say though is, like, when you see the value in the Castle Club, you're like, damn, you know what?
Yeah,
I need to be a part of that.
Your motivation pushed me to start and grow my business. I appreciate you guys. That's what we're talking about, bro. No brokey. Shout out to you, C. Avery. Notice how the guys that make money don't complain about the Castle Club is important.
The comments were all bad too. It's a mission to find even one favorable comment among the sea of negative ones. Up to this point, not one thing that Myron said he does or believes in has stayed consistent.
I don't need to make a send off this podcast. I'm fine. My real estate will take care of me, so I can sit here and tell you, you.
We need you guys to support us on Rumble. If you guys want us to keep making this content,
I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna say what the I want to say.
We make it look easy, guys, but like, we have people that work for us that legit have a need and depend on us.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for
this current platform right now, they want to eat. Neither do their kids.
He brings up the point that I have employees to take care of, as if we should care. That's your job, buddy. An employee should be upset with you, and he should be coming.
I mean, y'all want content. You want content, but you want people to work for free. And be mad as hell if you get up and go to your job and they ask you to work for free. Okay.
Out of your pocket to pay them. Liquidate one of your houses you were bragging about earlier. I mean, he wouldn't take an employee saying, yeah, he can't come to work because I didn't play for X, Y, and Z, so I'll be working less hours, and rightfully so. You have a job to do. No one cares why you can't do the job. You're either doing the job or you're not doing the job. Same way, the employee shouldn't accept, well, it costs you guys everything.
Oh, it's a job. Conveniently, it's a job. Do it for free.
And I stood to gain nothing, and I did gain nothing. Hope you guys understand. By this point, F&F just didn't care, like fully. They said, forget the facade, forget trying to help men. There's bills to be paid and money to be made. Full grift mode was activated.
If you're a member of Castle Club for the next few days, up until Friday when we finish the show, you're going to be able to get in at only $3,500. However, if you don't and you're not a Castle Club member, it's going to be $39.95.
They sold quote unquote yacht ticket for $4,000 and gave a discounted price for Castle Club members of $3,500. They promised refreshments, a grand, beautiful yacht, networking, and lots of women. Even before the yacht party, this was terrible. Who's going to one of them? Yeah, I guess there are ladies, but it's segregated like Jim Crow, except between genders. It was an abject disaster, and thus they had to do a second one. Again! And of course, it was just as bad. They lowered the price by $500, and the yacht that was supposed to be a huge, vast yacht that you'd have to pay way more to get into normally gets exposed to be a decommissioned state ferry. The same segregation was there in the next yacht party, too. I don't know how that could be. I mean, they had multiple high-value men right there. Why would you not be excited to talk to them? It's truly a mystery to me.
Hey, ladies, you guys want to say what's up to the camera? Introduce yourselves. Apparently, you guys are from Czech Republic?
No, definitely.
Women are too good to talk to high value men. I actually did a show a minute ago. Shout outs to Lil Shirley. Shout outs to Jessica X. And shout outs to Melody. They couldn't even figure, Lil Shirley did the best, honestly. I'll say that. Because Lil Shirley's real, and down to earth and just good, Women ain't gonna talk to you if you're high value. The same way right now. We got to do a breakdown at some point of old boy that what happened? What happened with dude? Old boy that did that little dumbass surgery on his legs. Talking about some now he in pain because he did height. He got BBL on his legs and he did height surgery and shit. Like, did nobody tell you to go do that? Dumbass, you ain't listened to enough Red Pill videos? You still got to go talk to people. Your legs ain't talking to people. Your height don't talk to nobody. And that's the problem right now. So it don't matter if you become high value, you still got to talk to people. And it's even worse because you still have to demonstrate high value. Being high value and demonstrating high value are 2 to 3 different things.
Networking was not consistent, but there sure was a lot of men dancing.
Might as well, spent all that money. I bet you those girls didn't pay that much to get in there. That's the thing, men. We got to pay and all kinds of shit. Women just got to show up.
Well worth the 3.5K if you ask me. They went on to do a damage control stream in which they controlled 0 damage. And in fact, Fresh, being as smart as the microphone he's speaking into, decides to say the reason the party was good was that he made a profit. Oh yeah, and he said this directly after Myron tried to say it wasn't about making money.
Aren't even indicative of what happened on the boat, and they're saying it flops. We made a profit, to have fun. We at the club afterwards,
and the goal wasn't to make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
and I told y'all that from the beginning.
We made a profit. By this point, Fresh and Fit were done. The fans don't rock with them. The outside world never rock with them. The only option was to pivot, although it can hardly be called that. I saw a tweet that said, male influencers when money runs dry and it's time to pivot. It's 100% true, especially in this case. The getting canceled to moving to the alt-right or right grift is something that deserves its own video and honestly needs to be studied. Like clockwork, it just so happens when someone's mad at the world or loses their platform or loses relevancy in general, they instantly become political. And of course, in one direction that instantly just so happens to believe the opposite.
What if I were to tell you they were political before, and them losing what they got going on just made them talk about stuff that they want to talk about anyway? You ever thought about that?
Of the current thing, but I'm sure it's all a coincidence. Anyways, this was a natural progression for FNF. I mean, they wanted to do this even before they were canceled. Did I say they? I meant Myron, because Fresh was not down for this at all. He was seeing a one-to-one correlation between Myron ramping up the racial rhetoric and the decrease the numbers in his bank account, the one and only thing he cares about. The animosity was starting to bubble up in the background. This was seen in Fresh, who was at the beginning a punching bag who everyone made fun of, doing a complete 180 and actually trying to run the show at times and standing up to Myron.
Pointing out who's behind the scenes pulling strings. What does that do? Someone please tell me. What does that do?
I guess it just
other than make you a target.
No, 100%. 100%.
What does that do for the public?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people probably didn't know that just now, and now they know.
What are they going to do
behind the
What are they going to do with it?
The COVID thing.
What are they going to do with it?
Education is important, bro.
To do what?
It's like a freshman. Not gonna have this discussion with you, bro.
I'm just saying.
Always like, bro, why are you
there's no point calling out people.
All right, we'll go back to YouTube then.
Cannot
so
defeat.
Fresh can feel safe. Let's go. Let's just go back to YouTube.
Oh, Andrew, am I correct here or no?
I'm just drinking my coffee.
Fresh can't articulate himself. That's the problem.
Listen to this combo,
bro. I'm the only one. Common sense, man.
Making the good point of who cares about all these conspiracy theories, albeit he did say because you can't defeat them, that every messianic descendant is connected to each other through telepathy, or they're a monolith or something. Basically, he got to the right destination, but he took the wrong road. But it wasn't just him showing signs of animosity. It was Myron too, going as far as creating a whole new show with Sneeko, Elijah, and of course, their superhero, Nick. No Fresh to be seen. And we all know how much Myron likes yes men around him. But what happens if your yes man stops yes manning? Now, you have someone who's completely and utterly incompetent, who doesn't even do what you say. What's the point? It is truly a weird predicament these guys are in. On one hand, the podcast wouldn't be where it is without Myron's drive and his leadership. Fresh had exactly nothing to do with the rise, and in fact, he made it worse. While on the other hand, if he had listened to Fresh at least these points, they wouldn't be panicking and looking for a new shit to jump to. Both parties do have good reasons to be mad at the other. And by the way, Myron has not just dipped his toes into Caucasian supremacy, he took a full dive in. He was in their Twitter spaces, and funnily enough, although he accepted them, they did not accept him. I'm probably going to do a video on this topic in general at a later time, so I won't touch on it too much right now. But man, is it funny to see what everyone knew to be true happen in real time. Like, buddy, they can't even get their definition of whiteness right. For some, if you're Italian, you're not white. For some, if you're mixed with anything that's not European, you're not white. You can look like the Aryan ideal itself and let them find out you have 1% Ashkenazi Jew in your blood. You've been a traitor the whole time. How much more denied are people like you and Candace Owens going to be? Very obviously just useful idiots for the time being. And it's honestly really funny. Please continue to go into these Twitter spaces. We all love it. But Fresh didn't share my sentiment, and neither did one of the back end people, Mo. You see, Mo is the punching bag of all punching bags. Genuinely a nice guy from all accounts, but seems to be really unsure of himself and lacking in confidence. Everyone who takes part in the show has stood up to Myron in some sort of fashion, even if they did it jokingly, with undertones of whatever you say, boss. But up until now, Mo hasn't. It all started when Myron was making jokes about the outright confirmed and uncontested by anyone credible lie that Haitians are eating dogs and cats en masse, sold by the 47th president of America.
There ain't cats and dogs.
How consistent are you when it comes to false allegations and misinformation towards countries that has been stolen off of? That's my question. We're on Twitter, so I gotta keep it up. But
stop it. Get some help.
Mo obviously took exception to that because he's from Haiti. All Myron did as a response to this was make jokes at his expense, play sound effects to troll him, and Mo was visibly annoyed. Myron, who has dealt with false allegations, claims that everything in your history book is a misinformation, yet can't just condemn this easy display of both right here. Obviously not. Guys like Myron only have a few set of values. Number one, the opposite of the current thing, conspiracies and pandering to my audience. But this rightfully bothered Mo, especially since he's Haitian. Myron didn't care and in fact went harder on him because, again, to Myron, the ultimate goal is complete submission to Myron. Any signs of dissent, whether justified, which they mostly are, or not, must be stomped out, whether on live like in Mo's case or behind the scenes like in Allende's case. Inconsistency reached an all-time high at this moment for Mo. Not that it mattered to anyone genuinely watching FNF for advice at this point. They are watching to be pandered to, not for real information. Keep in mind, all the numbers in World War II are fake. All that documentation out the window. All the studies on racism and institutionalized racism. Yeah, it's all propaganda as well. Every singular conceivable conspiracy? Facts. Haitians eating dogs and cats? Facts. That's as true as it gets. Source? I made it up. Can you imagine debating someone if they sourced the Fresh and Fit video? Anyways, back to the point. Fresh also bit back, but he did so much more tactfully than Mo. I'm kind of eating my words here because Fresh is making a lot smarter actions than I thought he would. The reason Mo went wrong is because he was seeming hurt about it. That's like blood in the water to a bully like Myron. Also considering he was half in, half out with his confrontation, Myron ate him alive. Fresh, on the other hand, did it way different. After either Myron or Fresh got them banned off Twitch, one of the last platforms that isn't Rumble that they can still monetize on, Myron had the audacity to utter a single word about Fresh possibly being the reason for the ban. Yes, the man who lost the podcast most of their money, support, and potential growth is condemning Fresh for getting them a temporary ban on Twitch.
Could have been anything.
100%. That's what it
You
was.
think so?
100%. Because you said,
I don't know, man. You said F streamers, these simps, comedians.
I guarantee you, it's
Which you find out
because simp isn't a hateful slur.
It actually is.
I promise you, bro.
Now.
Let's find out.
I literally have. Wait, this is crazy. Is it Fresh that got us banned?
Nah, bro. Don't put it on me.
We ain't putting no.
Fresh was not having it whatsoever. In an act of complete lack of self-awareness, Myron utters the words, take accountability.
Take accountability. Bro, literally, it says.
Hold on. Yes, we got him. Listen, bro, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Controversial.
Yeah, no, of course.
Controversial. But, hey, listen. Something in the chat. Hey, man, I kept it real. I kept it non-PC. We're going all the way.
If it was bullying,
we're crashing out.
If it said bullying, I would have said, all right, it's
Everyone in the back was laughing because it was so rich coming from a guy who has never taken accountability for his actions one time on YouTube. Blames the Matrix, YouTube, feminists, the fans who don't want to buy Castle Club, and everyone in between for their downfall. Yet everyone, including the team, realizes it's Myron's own stubbornness and stupidity that leads to. As you saw, Fresh was saying things like, at least we aren't PC. To me, that seems to be a not so subtle dog whistle to the team. I'm 100% sure they've had talks without Myron discussing how dumb Myron's lean into politics and the alt-right has been. Like we had at one time one of the most well-earning podcasts in a genuine money machine, and we lost it for what? To stick it to the wokies? Well done, Myron. How about hit?
Hold on. You just did a whole video on Fresh and Fit and said we had it. We. Who is we? We. Are you French?
Hit the nail on the head with this.
After you got us banned for the one thing that was making us the most amount of money, you're not gonna put me on this. After you did all that shit on YouTube, and I warned you.
And he's right.
And people laugh at Fresh. They say he's the dumb one or whatever it is. And in a lot of ways, he just really is useless. But he's not wrong about this. He's not wrong. You're not wrong. In this case, he's been telling him, like, yo, why do you guys always got obsessed about talking about these Jews all the time and doing all this conspiracy stuff and bringing it
he did that a couple
and Myron's
of
like, I gotta keep it real. Gets him banned, doesn't apologize. You ask Myron to apologize, take care about it. I don't.
But people ask, Myron, do you regret getting demonetized? No, I don't.
And now he's trying to put on Fresh. That's crazy.
Myron was livid. He could attack Fresh like he did with Mo Live because everyone in the comments already agreed. The whole studio had his back, unlike in Mo's case when they weren't fully defending it. So Myron, for once, had to just sit there and have a taste of his own medicine. And he wasn't happy about it as these hypocritical bullies he usually are. Fresh continued to say the exact same thing Myron did when he originally lost them all their money.
These platforms, bro. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We love Rumble, though. That's all we need. Next topic. Next topic, please.
But nothing can stop Myron's ego and pride, as well as his ambitions of being one of the good ones. So even after all this backlash and the majority of his fans saying, dude, we do not care about politics, Myron was in the background of all of this, continuing to get abused on Twitter Spaces, was going on more and more racist tirades until even Twitter, yes, the cesspool of the internet, the place where you can openly say slurs, besides cisgender, of course, come on, let's have some decorum. We have to draw a line somewhere. Blatantly and unapologetically spread misinformation. Putin's bot playground itself and the alleged free speech platform ended up demonetizing it. You know know how bad you have to be for this to happen? This at first was a genuine shock to me, but given the pattern of self-destruction that is Myron's legacy, I really have no reason to be shocked. At this point, the downfall had finally reached its end. And if are clawing and grasping at any relevancy they can, only somewhat relevant on Rumble, but those are the same old people no one knew is scrolling through Rumble and seeing FNF talk about Bitcoin. And
I mean, white people can get on here and troll and say Negro all the time. I just kicked out a couple in this chat earlier. Nobody bats an eye at that. Gotcha.
Clicking that. The YouTube is a husk of what it was before. Some videos getting as little as 6K views. Prior to this, you'd expect videos and clips to get upwards of 500K, depending on who's involved. The stream's not including girls, a measly 30K, 42K. Those would be great numbers for a channel like mine. With 1.5 million subs compared to their peak of 400K, 700K, 600K, it's a damn shame. Or it would be if this wasn't so predictable. The downfall of Fresh and Fit was not only predictable, but completely unnecessary. They innovated on the YouTube platform, reviving YouTube channels and creating a whole economy around them in their videos. Even now, and this is before the critiques of them. I'm just talking people reacting to their kickouts. They actually had a mainstream relevancy, and their points got other people talking. And even now, with the pop balloons or fine love trend, I'd wager that this idea had its roots from Fresh and Fit and their podcast. They found a winning formula that worked. They cultivated a cult-like following, and they were some of the first to really address issues that men were facing. Although it has since evolved, originally it was a lot more palatable. What I'm trying to say is this.
Yeah, overlook all the people that you were talking about in the beginning. You know, like Donovan Sharp, Minister Jap, O'Shea, and the list goes on, yo.
A good thing going, but of course, all good things must come to an end. And this end was a disgraceful one, not because of Abba and Preach or any false allegations / true allegations, and definitely not because of the goddamn Matrix. It's because of Myron. Although he was the engine that carried the podcast, he was also the person who derailed it. Think about it. At every turn, Myron doubled and tripled down on things just to feed his ego and pride. He sacrificed his podcast, his livelihood, his fans, his business, his relationships, and legacy at the altar of his own ego. He allied himself with scam artists like a saint and the sinner, Donovan Sharp, Wes Watson, and more. Abba and Preach made upwards of 55 videos on these guys since their initial beef, and they were instrumental in their downfall, no doubt. But it's like striking a match. The fire wouldn't have spread if Fresh and Fit hadn't already doused themselves in gasoline. Abba and Preach also consistently broke the rule of never correcting your enemy when they're messing up with most of their videos. They literally tell Fresh and Fit what they're doing wrong, why it's wrong, and what it's going to lead to. Hell, before they got demonetized, Abba and Preach warned them. After every subsequent video, there was a chance to change. After every subsequent incident, there was a chance to introspect. That leads us to the biggest catalyst of the downfall, and that's pride. Myron would rather blow up his entire podcast and be called nigger on Twitter Spaces than admit he's wrong. So what's next for FNet? Well, they'll always have their relevancy in their own little corner of the internet. But anything now they do or any big waves they make will just be their final death throes. It's like a sinking ship. Everyone on the team is starting to realize this now. The red pill as a whole is dying. So it really is no wonder why this is taking place. As for my personal predictions, I think FNF will continue to lean into the alt-right as a pivot, continue to lose support, and Myron will continue to double down. As for the rest of the team, I think they're all going to stay on board for as long as it benefits them, but I expect a lot more public displays of animosity. Myron is no longer the guy who took them to the promised land. So now they're a little more okay with snapping back at the bully. So I think that'll be fun to see at the very least. And of course, Abba and Preach will probably continue to make bank laughing at this downfall. Maybe Abba will buy his mom another condo. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for watching this video. And if you've made it this far, hit the subscribe.
I mean, good documentary, by the way. A lot of stuff bro got wrong. But if you fast forward till today, Fresh and Fit, they're talking about putting people on in the space. Some of the stuff that we've been covering recently. That's why I wanted to play this to, give you guys and watch it with you guys too, and critique it and go over it, and give you guys see if some things will come out of it, if people are telling the truth, and then also show you guys too that other people are telling the manosphere story instead of people in the actual manosphere, and they got a lot of the information wrong, some of it right, not like they cared anyway. This was really a hate campaign towards Myron. But let me point out something that these people don't know, because they're still new here and don't know. The global manosphere is not pro-black. They're not. That's why people are making fun of the black manosphere. The global manosphere, they're not pro-black. Like, they're not. I don't know what's going on with Negroes in this space today, but they're not here for the whole tether thing and the they not like us. They're not here for the fake Kendrick shit. They're not. You know, they're not. And I don't know why dudes in this space expect them to be. You know, and shit. And Myron was just pandering to the manosphere uh, that he believes is still alive. And it's funny because the black manosphere is called the black manosphere, but we don't got no like real black celebrities running around here unless they about to steal something. If Club Shay Shay come through here on a burner account, he about to steal some shit. There's a lot of comedians in this space does. If Cam Newton come through here on the burner account, he about to steal some shit. They do what they do what Kevin did, you know, use the space for endless think tank topics, you know. Hell, you got Chat GPT and DeepSeek stealing from this space. All those little hip hop and balloon pop shows and stuff like that, where they get the basis for their questions and stuff like that. Guess where that's stolen from? Space. Ace Metaphor, Derek Jackson, they're selling trading cards with our intellectual property on it. Even simps are stealing from the space. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. 2 hours and 19 minutes into the madness. Hit the like button, y'all, and hit the Cash App. Support the show. You can support the show at $PTV 888. That's $PTV 888. That's $PTV 888. This shit is interesting. Let me see what else we had. I want to cover this. Something else I'm supposed to cover before we get into. I did want to get into a little bit of politics, but let me see real quick because we are playing a little bit of catch up with some of the stuff because I wanted to throw that in because it was something that I wanted to bring up as a research, a little bit of research as to why Fresh probably would be selecting Angry Man, or well, not Fresh, but Myron would be selecting Angry Man, or just as a little bit of a okay, I see why Fresh and Fit probably needs to start pulling people from the space, because like I said, they're getting tired of being at fault for everything that they got going on in the master, but rightfully so. I mean, they've co-signed a lot of stuff, and they didn't share it with the black manosphere. I know it's fucked up to be on a list and be going down for stuff, in the manosphere. But if y'all were the face of it, or y'all wanted to be the face of it, you were a big part of it. Here's something that I wanted to talk about also. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. They said the Epstein tapes or tapes are coming out, Diddy tapes or whatever tapes are coming out. And recently, and we're not sure because bro just left a lot of Whew, niggas in the dust. Uh, Diddy's lawyer, um, abandoned the case. Diddy's lawyer said that he doesn't want to work for Diddy anymore and like bounced. And then now you have TD Jakes under investigation. The guy that brought up TD Jakes being under investigation is Willie D, from what I've heard. Give me a second. Let's check this out.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Famed megachurch pastor T.D. Jakes is facing some explosive sexual assault allegations from two brothers, Dwayne and Richard Youngblood, who claim he preyed on them decades ago. According to court documents, the first accusation came from Dwayne, 58, who alleges that over 40 years ago, when he was just 18 or 19, T.D. Jakes assaulted him during a private conversation in a clergywoman's home.
What?
Dwayne claims that after...
Dang, it's a dude. Lord have mercy.
Church pastor T.D. Jakes is facing some explosive sexual assault allegations from two brothers, Dwayne and Richard Youngblood, who claim he preyed on them decades ago. According to court documents, the first accusation came from Dwayne, 58, who alleges that over 40 years ago, when he was just 18 or 19, T.D. Jakes assaulted him during a private conversation in a clergywoman's home. Dwayne claims that after an attempted kiss, Jakes later called him while in a bathtub, suggesting a secretive transactional sexual relationship. He said Jakes told him this: "When I come to Pittsburgh, you'll be the only person I sleep with. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life." Following Dwayne's claims, his older brother, Richard Youngblood, 62, filed his own chilling account. He alleges that while sharing a hotel room during a ministry trip, Jakes climbed into his bed, pressed himself against him, and whispered disturbingly, "Youngblood, do you feel that?" Referencing an erection. Richard says he escaped the...
Come on, man. Pause. Oh, boy. T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes. That's why, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. It don't make no sense being a good pastor. Well, shit, even the cursing pastor got caught up on some G-hay allegations. But it makes no sense being a good pastor, because eventually somebody will turn against you. You don't hear no crazy shit from actual crazy pastors, Y'all niggas ain't got no sense. You don't hear that much from him. And especially you don't hear that much from this guy.
Your pussy! Hey, bring the camera, son. Bring the camera. All the young girls who want to make life with pussy, your pussy will perish with you in hell. May your pussy perish with you. May your smooth pussy, creamier pussy, and tight pussy perish with you.
You don't be hearing no allegations from the crazy pastors. What's going on, Chris G? Welcome to the show, bro. Good to see you, player. How you been, man? Shout outs to everybody here. 2 hours and 26 minutes and 26 seconds into the madness. Y'all hit the like button, support the show via Cash App or PayPal. What's going on, Bismillah? What's going on, Larry? May your pussy perish with you. Oh, man. So now you got T.D. Jakes, getting accused of you know, it's like clockwork, man. And the funny part is that the people that will be around to save them are the manosphere, honestly. The people that will be around to probably help his ass out is the manosphere. Even us doing media counteracting a narrative, telling the truth actually helps out. But we don't know. We don't know if he's guilty or not. You know, a lot of those preacher cats are suspect. The reality. I've been doing well, Chris G. Thanks for asking, man. You know, looking forward to definitely giving you guys some good content and putting in work. You did. Let's get back into it. This is disgusting.
The bed only for Jakes to grab him and attempt to kiss him. Jake, 67, has fiercely denied the allegations, branding them as a campaign of lies and accusing the brothers of trying to extort $6 million from him. He claims the accusations are rooted in revenge, especially from Richard, whom Jakes allegedly refused to help with employment. In response, Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit against the brothers, calling their claims ludicrous and insisting that he has never harbored carnal desires for these men. Jakes argues that the allegations have caused deep emotional damage to his family and reputation. Speaking of TD Jakes' family, his daughter has been accused of stealing children, and his son was arrested for indecent exposure. Despite the mounting pressure, both brothers insist that their claims are true, and they say they are backed by other victims' sworn affidavits. Yeah. As for TD Jakes, he remains adamant that he is innocent. He said, "I am repulsed by these defamatory accusations. I have reached my breaking point." All right, fam. Who do you believe? Give me a thumbs up if you believe the brothers. 2 thumbs up if you believe TD Jakes. This is a wild story. Some people are saying, hey, 40 years. Wow. So here's the thing about that when people say it was a long time ago. I get it. And I'm really against these type of cases popping up after decades, right? These particular type of cases, right? Not all cases, these particular type of cases, where there's no evidence whatsoever. Now, you got evidence, that's different. But just your word against my word, or his word against her word, or whatever, I don't know about all of that, fam. There needs to be some type of statute of limitations for these type of accusations, not just criminally, but civilly, because anybody can just see that, oh, I'm down on my luck, look like he up, look like she up. Let me accuse them of something and try to see if I can get some easy money,
right?
If I can get an easy payday. And a lot of lawyers have picked that up because, you know, lawyers are trying to get an easy payday too. And plus, you know, lawyers are just like everybody else. They cloud chasing, they trying to get likes, they trying to get followers, they're trying to get subscribers, you know, they want their name in the news. You know, they like to watch TV and see themselves and have their loved ones say, "Daddy, Daddy, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy's on television. Daddy's on television." You know, so if they can lock themselves in with a celebrity and have their name mentioned, you know, in the press with that celebrity, they're gonna do it. A lot of times they'll do it. Now, some attorneys, you know, they do, despite what you might think, some attorneys do have integrity. I know that sounds like an oxymoron to you, but some some attorneys do have integrity. TD Jakes, I think he's going to get hit with a Diddy style case. I think the feds, well, reportedly the feds are working on a case against TD Jakes. So do not be surprised if an arrest is in the near future. It could happen, especially with these guys saying that there are other victims who have sworn affidavits. Yeah, this could get really, really nasty. Now, I see what TD Jakes did by filing that defamation suit. Nice move, nice move. He's probably been watching Jay-Z. Jay-Z gave you the manuscript for those who believe that they are innocent. Well, those who know that they are innocent and they feel like that they're being extorted, they're being shaken down. Jay-Z gave them the manuscript for that. You know, you fight. When you're innocent, you fight. When
Countersue.
you're innocent, you go after those who tried to go after you. You did. That's how that go. But Jakes, ooh-wee, man. Just hearing the stories, I ain't gonna lie, fam, it do sound believable. Just
I mean, I don't know. And then it's a little bit different too, because the guys that came forward, they're guys. There really ain't no Me Too movement for guys. You know what I'm saying? Women, there's Me Too movements all day. But for guys, there's no him too movement.
So you haven't been with any underage girls?
Why would I let y'all catch me again for something I ain't do before that I'm gonna get caught for again? That's stupid. Which camera I'm lying to? That's stupid. That's not even common sense. Where's your common? That's stupid.
What about the alleged unspeakable things in a dark room?
Woo! Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I hope that camera keep going. This is not the truth.
So you really want to play the victim right now?
You're fucking killing me. You're fucking killing me. 30 years of my career. 30 years of my fucking career. I've been fucking these young bitches 30 years of my career. Now y'all want to kill me. This is not me. This is not me. I just don't want to believe the truth. Hey!
It's stupid.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Dumb.
Hearing the stories and how detailed they are, it does sound believable. I did notice that TD Jakes never said he doesn't have desires for men. He said he's never harbored any desires, any carnal desires for those two men.
Mean? Right.
See, words matter.
Right.
If you know that you don't get down like that, you just say, hey man, you know, especially a married man, you know, you just straight up say a man is married to a woman. Damn, you got to break it all the way down now. Damn, it used to just be.
But see, people lie. Obviously. Obviously, people lie. Right? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something a little bit different, right? These are our church cats, right? These guys, these are the people in the church. Black people get told that, you know what I'm saying? You know, black people get told that we're homophobic, we're the most homophobic, we're anti-LGBT, we're not this, we're not that, when in reality, we're the most loving, we're the most kind, we're the most genuine. Hell, we're getting used for our rights. We're the most accepting. And honestly, I ain't gonna lie, ain't nothing in church but some evil bitches and gay niggas. Just keep it $100. And preachers and pastors, they're around that stuff, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, you never know where somebody's taste buds is at, or what a nigga desire on his palate, Bussy or badissy, but it sure ain't pussy. It's crazy. I don't know. You gotta kind of start looking at them niggas like the prison niggas. I don't know, bro. If that's how you get down, then I don't know. And TD Jakes probably stepped on someone's toes recently, and that's kind of because it seemed like whatever allegations was coming down on him was gonna go away, but it looks like it went away to come back another day. Good morning, everybody. I need you guys to do me a huge favor and support the show via Cash App. You can support the show at $PTV 888 on this good Sunday morning. Speaking of TD Jakes, you can support the show at $PTV 888. That's $PTV 888.
If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? What make you think you greater than Jesus, nigga? If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? Why are you trying, nigga? If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? Why are you trying? What make you think you greater than Jesus, nigga? What make you think you greater than Jesus? What make you think you greater than Jesus, nigga? What make you think you greater than Jesus? What make you think you greater than Jesus? Swing the remix God! Can't save these hoes. Can't save these hoes. Can't save these hoes, nigga. Can't save these hoes. Can't save these hoes. Can't save these hoes. My shit. Can't save these hoes. 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 Can't save these hoes, nigga. If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? Why are you trying? If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? Why are you trying? What make you think you greater than Jesus, nigga? What make you think
you greater than Jesus? Oh boy. TD Jakes now catching a goddamn SA charge. That's crazy. Man, a whole dragon. All right, let's get back into it, y'all. Support the show. Good morning.
Automatic that it was a woman, but okay. He never outright said, I don't rock like that. I'm a straight male, I'm a married man, I'm a devoted husband, father. He just said, I've never harbored carnal desires for those men.
Might be some other
a little tricky right there, a little tricky. Yeah.
Might be some other men coming out.
I was checking out a TD Jakes sermon the other day, and that dude can preach.
Obviously.
I don't know about practicing what he preached, but he can preach. He was talking about how women talk in circles and men talk in straight lines.
See? Where do you think TD Jakes got that from? Where do you think that comes from? That sounds like some manosphere shit, don't it?
And y'all know what he's talking about, fam. You don't have to watch the sermon to know what he's talking about. Most women that I know, every woman I've been in a relationship with have done that. You know, you come in, hey babe, what's for dinner? Well, you know, when I went to the store, I was looking around and they didn't have.
You thought I was gonna run, huh?
They
Y'all
didn't have
wondering
the type of
where's Steve
meat
Harvey?
that I like.
I know
like.
people
So
been.
it just didn't look good. So
Hold on, y'all.
I went to.
Hold on, y'all. Hit the wrong button. Steve Harvey on Club Shay Shay. Where do y'all think that ideology comes from? How much times have you heard me say it? And so many people have copied me talking about it. I tell you guys all the time that men say about 10,000 words per day. Average men say about 10,000 words per day, and women say about 30,000 words per day. Again, average men say about 10,000 words per day, if that, and under, actually. Where women, they start at 30,000 words per day and up. Now, guys like myself, I might say more words per day because I'm working right now. You know, I'm actually putting time and energy into this morning show that could definitely use your support. And I'll probably say north of 30-something thousand words per day. I can guarantee it. It's just an interesting fact. Women use more words to articulate themselves, and not necessarily articulate themselves. They use more words to, you know, describe something, or, you know, to express how they feel about certain things, or you know, certain events and stuff like that. Absolutely.
I went to Whole Foods, and then Whole Foods was closed, and then I left Whole Foods, and then I went to HEB, and HEB had the meat, but it was just so overpriced, and I was thinking, like, what is there, a food shortage or something? So then but I got it anyway, because I know that what you was gonna say. You was gonna say, I want what I want, and you know, and I'll pay for what I want. So I went ahead and bought it, and then I left there. And then I was like on my way back home, and I forgot to get the spices. So I had to turn back around. Love y'all women. Love you to death, man. Love you to life. But y'all do that. Y'all are notorious for doing that. Anyway, fam, TD Jakes, man. Boy. At the very least, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. If he's innocent, I absolutely hope that.
I mean, him and Diddy are cool. Diddy's lawyer just left his case, y'all. Then this pops up out of nowhere. We'll follow the story. We'll definitely follow the story. So how's your morning going, guys? Are you guys enjoying the show? Hopefully you guys are entertained. Now, a lot of talks about Kevin Samuels. There's another guy that came in the space, and he was imitating Kevin Samuels for a while. I think he's a cool brother. His name is Jeremy Hill. Now, he chimed in. I was going to talk about it, but maybe I can get around the whole thing by seeing what he said about it. About the brother that, brothers like to play basketball. Brothers like to play basketball and stuff like that. I've never seen a brother get that height surgery shit to go play basketball or to enhance his basketball skills. But if you went to like the black pill sectors and stuff like that, it wasn't uncommon that you would see a lot of brothers around here talking about what LAR said, chisel chin Chad, and you know, like it gets barbaric. Like, you know, if you go to certain places, even like back in the day on this channel, we had a lot of women coming through. And like even back in the day at the same time, there were two women running around the manosphere that was like into featureism and like way beyond like colorism and stuff like that. We had like the light skinned activist running around here. I forgot her name, but remember her face. And then we had Rashida Strober, who was a dark skinned activist and stuff like that. And I've broken down that game so many times and pointed out, you know, how like, you know, people obsess over, skin tones, and not just necessarily skin tones. They also obsess over features, which gets into featureism and stuff like that. And it's, it's really goofy. It's really, really goofy. It's bad. Bad goofy. You know, because it's not a joke. And it's like, damn, people really believe in that stuff. And it's like, yeah, absolutely, people believe in that stuff. And it gets bad in today's society where people don't care about doing BBLs. It gets bad when people don't care about going under the knife. It's horrible, actually. It's pretty fucked up, honestly. And I guess brothers didn't tell you that your legs can't talk for you. Your legs can't speak for you. You got to figure out a way how to express yourself. You can't blame everything on women. It takes some type of accountability, man. Bro went and got BBL on his legs. Now his kneecaps hurting, and they say he can't walk. He on Vlad TV. Vlad, self-inflicted wounds, y'all.
Look in the mirror, man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now, because this is not the show for you. Now, what I have for you in this reaction video, I am going.
Jeremy done changed up his whole style. He went from Kevin Samuels to brother.
To present to you a person who I would consider to be.
He went from Kevin Samuels to the Grand Rising G himself.
You just don't get it. Your love for white women and poorly seasoned fried chicken is making you weak. Go get some Kangen water. I promise. I might even break a sweat next time. Oh yeah. Corn is making you infertile.
Be a simp and a sucker. What do I mean by that right there? This man has given in to modern women's requests and demands for a taller man. This man
And let me tell y'all something about the black pill, the fake black pill, because that's what's going on in these spaces. The black pill, that shit is fake. That shit is fucking fake. It's horribly fake. And a lot of those brothers, they worship women. They women worship. You know what I'm saying? That shit is female worship. Okay? They're not manosphere. They actually worship women, and they speak against the manosphere. Honestly. So they worship women. They believe women, stuff that women say. Which is which is stuff that comes with a caveat, which is stuff that comes with the explanation, which is even women look at these dudes as lame if they believe them, you know? And they don't use their common sense like they should or hear themselves. And then some of them have the nerve to be number crunchers, you know? Oh, there's this, you know, your chin need to be this circumference and this diameter. And oh, there's only this percentage of tall men out there. And they never think to themselves like, okay, well, if there's only this percentage of tall men out there, who are women going to date? Who are women going to date? That you know, women don't if there's a shortage of tall men out there, that means women are still out here dating. They're still out here getting it in. That means they're not all going to get a tall man, so they're dating guys your height and maybe shorter. But ooh-wee. Punishing yourself, destroying your legs and your height. And shout outs to Stoic. He made a funny observation not too long ago. It's like, okay, let's say if a woman does get with you, your kid's gonna be short still. If he gets your height. So it's a lot of just goofy dudes that's not thinking. They don't think. And you got to go through endless menu diving and doctors and procedures and stuff. Even a doctor that's going to do the procedure on you warns you, like, bro, you sure you want to do this? What's your reason? Not every day you do goofy nigga height surgery, but okay.
Did what they call the height surgery. They extended his knees and legs. He went from 5'5" to 6 foot. Yes, I'm about to show them to you right
you a
now.
Little dumbass nigga. You might as well just wear platform boots, my nigga. Damn. Get some stilts. Like, what?
And we're finna just get it going. Hold on 1 second. I put it on your screen. This is sad. And he's going to talk about how it helps him on the dating field around the end. Let's get it. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Let's get it.
You're looking at yourself as a 6 foot tall man for the first time in your life.
It was real weird because like so oddly enough, your mind takes a while to process the fact that you're taller. So you can't actually like you'll look in the mirror, but you don't actually feel like anything changed. Like it takes a little bit of time for your mind to process it. You don't actually because you've seen it in such it's just like a growth spurt. You don't realize you're taller until you get around other people. So I didn't realize how tall I was until I got back out into the world and realized like
nigga, you did a whole
I didn't feel
surgery.
tall, but at the same time, I'm taller than most people everywhere I go. So it's
You did a whole surgery with your goofy ass. You went from not seeing over people's head to possibly seeing over people's head. I didn't realize I was tall. You did a whole surgery. Man, this goes to show you certain things and trinkets and stuff like that cannot unlame somebody. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 6'2".
Yeah.
So before the interview, you and I kind of stood side by side, and it's like, okay, we're pretty close now in height. And with me, I'm significantly taller than both of my parents, but that's because they grew up in Ukraine. I came to America when I was about 4 or 5. I think the diet I had access to here in terms of milk and vitamins and so forth just caused me to grow more than they did. I think. I have no other idea.
Yeah, I definitely think my diet played a part in it because, you know, we struggled a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lower income neighborhoods, you don't have access to the best food. Kids end up not being as tall. Yeah. So now you're 6 feet tall, but you have to learn how to walk again. You go crazy in the gym.
Absolutely.
I think you actually asked if there was a gym like in the studio.
I did.
There's a Planet Fitness next door.
Yeah. So I thought about like looking up a gym, but I ended up just figuring it out yesterday. Like I just spent all yesterday in the gym. So
Okay, got it. How much time do you spend in the gym?
It just depends on the day. It depends between like 4 to 8, sometimes more.
4 to 8 hours.
4 to 8 hours.
This is a part-time job or a full-time job? Depends.
It's crazy to do something to your body, something that can prevent you from possibly walking again, because certain people who have went through this procedure failed to do.
That's how self-mutilation works. You know, and guys like this thought about it and pondered over it for a long time. That's how self-mutilation works.
The rehab. And it made them to where they could no longer walk properly again. To do this to yourself just so that you can receive the admiration of today's modern woman is stupid, in my most humble opinion. Okay, let's keep going.
Depending on what day you go.
Just depends.
I mean, how do you support yourself if you're in the gym essentially full time?
Well, I have, like I said, I'm back into business now. So I have my business going on. I have a few other things going for myself, all legit. I'm all legit now.
Okay.
But I just have a few different things going on for myself at this time in my life.
Right now, like how long ago was your last operation?
Last May or June. 2023, May or June, not 2024.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Do you walk as well as you used to walk?
Pretty much. Like the way I walk around, you wouldn't, unless I'm tired, really tired, or I've been sitting down for too long, you wouldn't even know I had surgery when I'm walking around.
Okay, not me noticing, but you yourself. Like walking 5 blocks, exactly the same as before, or a little bit different?
Nah, I'll start to feel my legs will start to feel very tired. My legs are very heavy, mainly because of the rods and the new. So my legs get heavy.
So you actually, you're lugging around metal rods.
They get pretty heavy.
This man has metal rods.
This nigga done turned himself into Wolverine.
In his legs, walking crazy, put himself to rehab for a year just to receive the validation of modern women, which he will speak on a little bit later. But I've been following his story, and one of his main motivators to go get this type of height surgery is to get the attention from the ladies, because he was 5'5". Now, I am not a hater. I am 6.5 to 6'1" myself, okay? So I don't want you to think I'm hating on this man. But even if I wasn't my height, I'd be damned if I would go get surgery on my body to get taller just so I can get a mustard back heifer in my life.
How much weight did you gain?
Just so I can get a mustard back heifer. The mustard back heifer.
Before and after, I mean, in terms of just...
When I did the surgery, so I was, like I said, I was back on track with life. So I had put on all this weight in the gym every day, like going hard, did the surgery. By the time from that 6 months, I was eating as much as I could, working out every day. I still lost 50 pounds.
Okay.
So I was pissed. I was pissed about that. That was probably the one downfall for me.
Like, how long did it take from the last surgery, 1.5 years ago, to start walking more or less normally?
A year.
A year.
Like actual normal, a year and some change.
Now, what's scary though, I mean, you were talking about this a while back, is that some people don't take the rehab very seriously.
Absolutely.
And they end up never walking normally again.
That is true.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
You go in to get taller and you end up with the inability to properly walk.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen this.
Absolutely.
Why do you think this happens?
Well, I already knew this would be the case. I knew this would work out like this when I saw a lot of, when I met some of the people, you know what I mean? Their mindsets was a little bit more immature. And I had a lot of maturing to do myself, a lot. But they had a very immature mindset. They didn't look at life. They looked at life as, not as serious. So a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, and no pun intended, but yeah, you should have had a mature mindset so you could actually grow. You understand what I'm saying? So now you did something to yourself because you didn't grow, and mentally you didn't grow. And now that you done something to yourself, now mentally you've grown into your mistake. I know this nigga legs hurting like shit and look weird.
Who just didn't take rehab serious at all, or didn't do any rehab, which didn't make sense to me. And everybody would think I'm crazy because they're like, why do you spend so much time in the gym? Like, this is my ability to walk. I did something, I know it's crazy. I know I did something crazy to myself. And no matter what happened, if I used to laugh at myself, like on days where I thought maybe I'll never walk right again, I would be so frustrated, but I would laugh because I'm like, that's your dumb ass. You did it.
Think about this. This is the mindset of a simp. At least he admits that he did it to himself, but to laugh at yourself because you may be ruining your future, may not ever be able to walk again or walk properly, you're just going to laugh at your calamity. All this to get the attention of women. He had no other reasons to do this. His self-esteem was low. He needed validation from women. I don't think this young man had a daddy. If he did, I feel sorry for him. I don't think he had any male role models. If he did, they must have been beta men, because an alpha male is not going to tell another young brother to go get surgery to get taller so that you can have women. You can get women by just being productive. Let's continue.
And I just keep pushing, like, okay, all I can do is keep going and see what happens. But a lot of people didn't have that like mental forefront. They was just like, I did the surgery. Cool, I'm taller.
That's it. I'm done.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
This is what I've learned is anything that you do is a lifestyle. Like people in the gym will tell you going to the gym is a lifestyle. People in their career field will tell you this is a lifestyle. I have to gear my life around this. So that's the same. It's no different with the surgery, like recovery. When you're something like this, the body was never meant to undergo. The body was not, this is traumatic to the body.
Mm-hmm.
The body is the body's ability to recover is astonishing. It's amazing. I was a combat medic. The body can recover from some crazy shit, but it was never meant to recover from something like this. So you have to.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that's why you don't put the body through no fucking crazy shit. You should be learning that the body should recover from some crazy shit by not putting the body through some crazy shit. Your body.
To push yourself a little bit harder than you're used to. And they just didn't have that mindset. And it was unfortunate for them, but at the same time, they made the same choice I made. They signed the same paper I signed. So
this man just told you that he understood that the human body, the human male body and woman, because we feel to cover that, but the human body was never designed to go through this. But he had to push through it just so that he can get the attention of modern women.
All men?
Men and women.
Was there women there as well?
Absolutely.
Really? Why would women get height surgery?
Most of them said something about flight attendants have to be a certain height or modeling. That's what they
crazy.
said. I don't know anything about that, but most of them said,
a new job, man.
most crazy. Of them said flight attendants have to be a certain height, models have to be a certain height. That was the two biggest things because it was some very pretty women there. So
okay, so some of the women were very attractive.
Yeah.
How about the men?
Some of them was it was different layers. It was different tiers of men there. There was some businessmen, very respectable. There was some very like charismatic men saying like to them, there's just another check in the box. They just improving the quality of life because we all know you don't need height, but height definitely help, especially like in the dating field or like, the height definitely helps. So you don't need it, but it's cool to have.
Look at it. He get on Vlad TV lying, capping. It's cool to have. It doesn't necessarily help. Mentally, it might help you. But you know what might not help you mentally? Your fucking foot in pain. Some woman talking to you and you're like, yeah, I'm trying to listen to you, but you're in pain. You're in pain. Shit, later on, she gonna have to rub your legs. That's how much pain you're probably in. Especially at that age. Like, you would think you would feel the pain when you get a little bit older. The male BBL is probably here, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that might be the sucker of the decade right there. But he talked about it, how height helps in the dating field. Had nothing to do with him needing a surgery to prevent some type of terminal illness or whatnot, but just to look good to other people. Boy. Anyway, you let me know what you think about this episode. I'll be talking to you pretty soon. You take it easy now, you hear?
Shout outs to Jeremy Hill. He had like a bunch of Kevin Samuels. He came in on the Kevin Samuels wave. I don't think he's a bad brother, but oh, this should be interesting. Hold on, y'all.
Look in the mirror.
Let's see if these studs are getting the same treatment that men get.
To show you is, have you ever heard of a beta
stud
provider? I know we have heard of beta male providers, but I'm going to show you a beta stud provider. And these beta stud providers are also tired of today's modern day black women, in my most humble opinion. And also they have expressed it as well. Now, this video is for education.
See, I told you guys that when the L Gibbet gets into the space, a lot of guys are going to agree with them. A lot of guys are going to agree with them, because I don't know, for some reason, and I understood it like a long, long time ago. But that was a long, long time ago. For some reason, guys feel that they have to prove to women their wrongdoings, where it's like, okay, but even women are looking like, okay, I did something wrong. What are you going to do to me? There's no accountability after that. And honestly, what is she supposed to be? Like, what's going to happen to him? Nothing's going to happen to him. You spend more time proving to them that they're wrong. Proving to somebody that they're wrong doesn't stop. It doesn't stop them from not doing it again. It just says, hey, you did this. And it's like, shit. Actually, it's even worse for some of them. It's even worse for some of you dudes. Because if you prove to her that she's wrong about something, she turn around and weaponize it against you and use it. A lot of you guys aren't even ready to prove to them what they could possibly be wrong about, because the fact still remains. What are you gonna do to them if they don't stop? Or if they don't change? And then that's not even the real question there. That's why it gets dumb. Are you gonna leave? What are you gonna do? Not necessarily to them. But are you gonna bring a stop to it? If she isn't. Some women know when they're dating leaders or when they're simply just dating breeders. Obviously.
Educational purposes. So let me go ahead and let you hear the first stud talk to you about her dilemma. Can you dig it? All right. Better get to it. Let's get it.
I'm single now, and I realize that I will never be completely happy as long as I'm providing for somebody. I'm sorry, but it irks me to come home after I've been working, to see somebody sitting up on my couch and not doing shit. What I'm saying? Enjoying the fruits of my labor. The economy.
Okay, yeah, I saw this on Facebook.
Is a beast. And I worked hard to get to the place that I am today. I didn't have no handouts. You know what I'm saying? I had to work hard for this shit. And I'd be damn if, you know what I'm saying, I let somebody else come up in here and enjoy my shit without offering to contribute, to pay a bill up in this bitch. I'm trying to have something. I'm trying to own a home. You know, if the right woman come along,
that's not gonna happen.
Maybe a family with the right.
So let me ask you something. Isn't that the same things that heterosexual straight men have been saying? That we are tired of women who think they can coast through life on their looks alone. They do not bring 1 ounce or 1 drop of femininity. They don't bring any submission. They don't bring any respect. They don't want to cook. They don't want to clean. They just want to sit there and enjoy the benefits of the man's labor. Don't you think men also want to have a family? Don't you think men also want to own homes? See, these women want the same things that we men want. But this only confirms what we have already known in our communities, that it is the women that are the problem. Because you can't just say that men cannot get along with women simply because men just don't get along with women. This is visible proof that even women cannot get along with women. Even women cannot maintain healthy, intimate relationships with women. And also, I would like to add that the most cases of domestic violence happens in those communities, especially those between women and women who are in intimate relationships.
All right, where do you think Jeremy got that from? You know, like I said, a lot of these people watch us, and they don't. I mean, like the credit, y'all. You know, and then at the same time too, it's like it's they act like we don't exist. That's the part that's you know, that's rubbing me the wrong way. You know, y'all hit the like button. Please support the show. 3 hours into the madness, giving y'all a really good fire show today. Lot to learn, lot to soak up. Please support the stream. We definitely can use at least 1 to 2 contributors. If you are enjoying the stream this morning, getting you through your day, starting you off, coffee, breakfast, or simply on your drive to work, definitely support the stream. All right. You know, I got to give y'all the game. You know, straight lace, no chase. Like I said, a lot of people are going to be here and a lot of guys are going to agree with them because for some reason, and I want you guys, even within yourself, to recognize that for some reason you have an innate thing in you to try to prove to women their own nature. And there's several social deterrents that women use to not, you know, to not really have to have the responsibility of dealing with their nature. You know, and I'm not going to talk about like periods and all kinds of stuff. Actually, it's not even, it's a social thing cuz there's actually it's the same thing with men. You know, like for example, with civilization and socialization. You know what people are mad about? And like, you know, and I'm not gonna bring in, you know, women having to take care of their menstrual cycle and the mood swings and stuff like that. That's too easy. But you know what people what people don't like, and this is another reason why we're turning to like AI and we're turning to like just alternate alternatives, right? People don't a lot of people and in general society doesn't like that humans are human. I know it sounds weird. Society doesn't like the fact that we're humans. And being human, right, is not a social construct. It's a visceral construct. Go look up the word visceral, right? Viscerally, we're animals. And honestly, we're the most dangerous animal on the planet, to tell you the truth. And all animals are aware of us. Well, for the most part. Right? But socially, right? Socially, we don't like the fact that we're animals. Like, we have to maintain our bodies like animals do. Deer's got to go out and go find food. So do we. Deer's got to take a dump. So do we. Socially, one is accepted. One, visceral, function is accepted. Another one is looked down upon. A lot of people, because we built a social culture and food culture around it, which is eating food. A lot of people love to eat and have favorite meals and things that they like to eat and stuff like that. And then you have a lot of people, honestly, humans, we socially, like using the bathroom is like something a lot of humans, discarding waste and stuff is something that a lot of humans think that they can do without, because socially, we have functions in our body that reminds us of what we are. You're human. You know, uh, you need to eat. Hey, this needs to be addressed. Hey, our bodies remind us that we're animals. A lot of people don't like that, though. A lot of people don't like that because a lot of people want to feel that we're more sophisticated than a deer or a bear. We're more smarter than them. Are we though? Because when a hurricane comes, a lot of people perish. You don't be seeing deers and all kinds of shit wash up. They sniff the air and go north before some shit pop off. Us, we think that, we're just gonna stay in our house. The only difference that man, other than intelligence, certain levels of intelligence that we still trying to figure out, the only difference that man has had that differs with other animals, which they do it too, is that we can build walls. That's the only difference between man and animal, is that we can build walls, to block off other animals, to block off elements, to block off other things. Animals build homes too, but we know how to build walls. That's what's the most innovative thing, that as a man, that we have the ability to build walls and utilize them too. Um, but with all the technology and stuff that we have today, nah, at the end of the day, we still got to realize that we're animals, and have animalistic tendencies, as much as we try to get away from them or modernize ourselves. A lot of men, I've seen a lot of men actually embrace their animalistic side, but society, they'll tell you that, it's no, we're not animals, we're more sophisticated, we got more going on. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. Because aside from that cell phone that you guys have in your hand and all the technology that you guys have at your fingertips, when the power goes out, you right back at square one. You got to learn how to filter water, find where water is, build a nest or something you can sleep in. Or learn how to build a wall. We're not that different. But in a lot of cases, women, especially modern women, a lot of them has lost their visceral. A lot of shit. Modern people, honestly, I'm gonna say, has lost their visceral ability to detect certain things. Guys will have a gut feeling, ignore it, and then go get unsubscribed from life. Women here are smoking and drinking. They're modern day pirates. Hoes are pirates nowadays and shit. You know, they're not really using their abilities, you know, to for nutrition and certain things like that. Everybody's glued to their phone. Smartphones, dumb people. That's the society that we're living in today. So if you don't think that we're leaning more towards visceral, I don't know what to tell you. You know, our visceral side. I don't know what to tell you.
You can look up the data for yourself, and you'll see that I'm correct.
Yeah, I forgot.
Let's keep going.
He's a number cruncher.
Right woman, but
him and
like
Media
I said,
Man.
I need a partner.
Media Man's another number cruncher.
That's gonna be a partner, not a
And Kevin Samuels' clone.
dependent. You know, you can lean on me. I can lean on you. You know, if one of us need help, I got you, and vice versa. You know, that's how I know. That's how I know it's real. We both women. We both have the same needs. Shit, I don't want to work either. I want to sit up on my ass and not do shit all day too. But I can't. Because I wouldn't have shit. The only time I'd be cool with being a provider for another adult is for my wife that's pregnant. And after the pregnancy, she decides she want to, homeschool the kids, because who the fuck want to put their kids in the public education system right now, especially. But other than that, I'm not supporting.
And honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. In these lesbitarian relationships, a lot of the studs, women that look like this, they get taken advantage of. You understand what I'm saying? They get taken advantage of really badly. And I don't know, it's weird because you'll have a stud like this and they'll be talking about, having a kid. They'll talk about having a kid and it be the one that looked like a man. That's the mother. Craziness.
And I'm not financially supporting another full able-bodied adult ever again, because I realize that I'm never going to be happy doing that. If you don't own a pot to piss in, you can't come piss in my pots.
Hey, all I can tell you that there's no such thing as a man that's happy with a woman who is not productive either, okay? The same thing she's talking about and complaining about are the same things that men have been talking about in the manosphere for a couple of years now. Now I'm gonna put another woman on the
Yeah, y'all don't say no names though, but y'all do repeat us.
screen who want to tell you the same thing that men been saying, or it's the women's fault. Let's get it.
Yeah,
What's going on, Cynical? Good to see you. Good morning.
provider, but like, don't drag it. Like, I want to do stuff because I want to do stuff, not because I feel like I have to do stuff. Don't sit here asking me for bread. Don't sit here asking me if I could get this for you. Da 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 da. It's like it turns me off. Like, I'd rather just do shit off the strength of me. And 9 times out of 10, I usually do want to do shit for you. Like, if you tell me you want something, like, oh my God, look, I've been wanting these Uggs for a while and whatever. Eventually, like, I'll get them for you.
But here's the thing, the same thing that men feel. We want to give of our hearts, from our hearts. We do not want to feel pressured to do something for today's modern day woman. But modern day women feel the need to feel entitled to everything that a man has worked hard for. So they put pressure on a man to provide, even if the man is not in a relationship, even if the man is not in a marriage with them. That's a sucker. That's a simp. These women come to your house. They enter into relationships with their hands out, with empty bellies, wanting you to feed them all the time. Take them to this restaurant. Do this for them. Women are seeing the same things that men are seeing. A lot of women before.
And what the hell does that mean? I'm doing well. Here putting in this work on this glorious Sunday morning for you guys. Hopefully you guys hit the like button and support the show. That's crazy, man. I'm giving y'all this good game. All right, hit the like button, y'all. Ooh. There really is no winning the gender war. There's winning in court. There's winning access to your family, but there is no quote unquote winning a damn gender war. Like I said, you can't fight who you trying to fuck. Nobody wants to listen.
Or did not get it. And I really believe some of the studs did not get it until they start dealing with today's problematic modern day black woman, in my most humble opinion. They are now seeing where we are coming from, and some of these women are switching back over to the other.
And a lot of not the modern women, but modern women and studs, but a lot of them are getting it even worse. A lot of them are getting it even worse. Hold on. A lot of them are getting it even worse because it's like, okay, so you wanna pretend to be a man. We gonna see how manly you are. Women going, honestly, sometimes them up here pretending to be a man or act a little bit manly in certain instances allows women to give them endless shit tests. Women could get dual shit tests off on lesbian women. Dual shit tests.
Men feel we want to give of our hearts, from our hearts. We do not want to feel pressured to do something for today's modern day woman. But modern day women feel the need to feel entitled to everything that a man has worked hard for. So they put pressure on a man to provide, even if the man is not in a relationship, even if the man is not in a marriage with them. That's a sucker. That's a simp. These women come to your house. They enter into relationships with their hands out, with empty bellies, wanting you to feed them all the time. Take them to this restaurant. Do this for them. Women are seeing the same things that men are seeing. A lot of women before did not get it. And I really believe some of the studs did not get it until they start dealing.
Shout outs to GB dropping the huge. Thank you so much for supporting Player Talk Radio. Shout outs to GB dropping the huge. $10 on the Cash App. Thank you so much for supporting Player Talk Radio. Let's go.
More. Wendy?
Thanks, Chuck. We're standing here in front of the Olympic Liquor Store in Queens where scores of African Americans have been lined up for hours. We spoke to a few of them earlier. Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Thank you, bro, for supporting Player Talk Radio. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, a lot, you get, listen, and let me tell y'all something, which is another talking point that's stolen from DJ Kuda. You can't out-simp a dyke. You can't. As a man, it's just the levels that women go to and go through dating other women. You can't out-simp a dyke or a stud. And let me tell you why. And I hate to say it like this, but it's the truth. And it'll make more sense when people explain it to you. Theoretically, women are incomplete. Theoretically. And what women will do, because they are opportunists, Not the best opportunists, but they are opportunists. What they will do is they will try to complete themselves. Absolutely. They will absolutely try to complete themselves. And upon trying to complete themselves, right? Upon trying to complete themselves, yeah, they will absolutely upon trying to complete themselves, they'll run into roadblocks. They'll try to women will try to become, you know what I'm saying, what they feel that they're missing. Like I said, I actually have. I've said this in the past, but I actually had a little bit of examples of this. I've never seen a stud turn into a nice young gentleman that abides by his lady and pays bills. Like when you got old boy who did that surgery on his leg, BBL'd his leg, and destroyed himself. Then you got women self-mutilating themselves and in destroying themselves in relationships by becoming men and or lady men or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? They don't become like they don't become the type of guys that women claim that they want. It's actually they know not to become the type of guys that women claim that they want. It's horrible. I'm not telling you to be a bad guy, but you got to have some type of backbone and you got to have some type of balls with your lady to a certain degree, depending on the lady that you choose. Because you can absolutely be a good guy and get a sister that that commends or that reciprocates or don't really put you through some shit. Good luck though. But when you're a certain type of guy, you'll see women and how they treat quote unquote the good guys or the guys that they claim that they want on the surface, and if you see them dating the bad boy, they will sit there and try to turn the bad boy into the good guy, the whole relationship. And let's say you soften up a little bit too much and turn into a good guy with her, because you could be a good guy. Like I will even tell good guys, quote unquote, guys that I know that are just good-hearted guys, because some women draw them to be the type of guy that they claim they don't want to be or they don't like to be or wouldn't want to be in that instance, right? I would tell a lot of the good guys, hey, look, you like who you like. I can't tell you not to like women with attitude or women that treat men a certain type of way, sometimes you like that because it's a challenge, but I would tell the good guy to be generally good with other people, but a little bit more stern with her. And she will sit there and try to get you to be, I guess, a good guy or try to soften up whatever you got going on with her. And the moment you do, she loses interest in you. It's like giving the cat the ball of the yarn. It's like giving the cat the yarn and the string. Some women will spend the whole relationship trying to turn you into a good guy. And sometimes you got to sit back and tell them like, oh, well, if I became the good guy, then I wouldn't have you. I see how you treat good guys. You bring that to her attention. And some women would look at you and be like, okay, touche. Shit, sometimes you got to check her as soon as you see her being that type of way to a good guy. Be like, you see what you just did there? And you want me to be a nice guy just like him. You try to soften me up. Hell no. Go listen to these interviews with these women. I know y'all be listening to Kevin Samuels and all these other people, but y'all don't. I mean, let me tell y'all something. You got to train your ear and figure out what to listen for. What I mean is, yeah, me, everybody, and your mama heard the same thing that you heard. We heard the same thing that you heard. Right? We heard everything that you heard. But you don't know what to listen out for. You know? A lot of the big things that you need to listen out for is being skipped. See, people haven't really taught y'all how to really listen to manosphere rhetoric. Y'all just hear locker room talk and just believe and hear these talking points. No, how you listen to the rhetoric is you get the game. If you listen to women long enough, women teach you how to catch them. That's the game. Women teach you how to catch them. So if you go listen to how long she spent in a relationship with the regular cat, let's say, she's like, this guy, he was so good to me, but he's just too nice. He's just too nice, whatever that means, right, y'all? He's just too nice. I got rid of him. Short relationship. Then you listen to her tell you about the guy that treated her like shit. That the nice guy thought he had to compete with. He did, but not probably in the way that he thought he did. But she tell you about the guy that treated her like shit, borrowed her car, didn't put no gas in it, fucked her over, put her in a fucked up standing with her family. When she talks about that guy, and you're like, well, how long were you in a relationship with him? 7 years. So she quick to get rid of the good guy, but she'll do a whole bid. What's going on, Tampa? She'll do a whole bid with Mr. Fucked Up, And then I give y'all the game all the time. A lot of women hide behind fucked up dudes to look like good women. A lot of women hide behind fucked up men to look like good women, to seem like good women. That's that dynamic all over again. Especially women that like to date hot and cold niggas. You know what I'm saying? Them the ones you got to really watch out for. Like she kind of make you happy and then she make you mad, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to pass this on. I recently saw a video, Hip Hop News, right? Where Rollo was going in, and it's funny because I did see his name on the ticket, which was hilarious. You know how Big Meech came home not too long ago, and they were throwing a concert for him or whatnot, right? There's a rapper named Rollo, who recently just got out of jail, and they thought he was snitching or whatever. Like both of their cases are kind of funny but weird at the same time with the whole snitching allegations, right? There's a rapper named Rollo who just came home recently also, right? And they were trying to say he was snitching, and it was funny because he was talking about Boosie, and he was talking about Scooter and a couple of other people that was gonna do a show for a person that got outed for snitching that just came home, right? Obviously, Big Meech, right? He was talking. He did a. I didn't know. I saw it on my timeline, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. He did a off the porch interview, and he had Tay Savage with him out of all people, which is crazy. I didn't think those two would hang out with each other, but that's cool. He did an off the porch interview with Tay Savage beside him, and he was like, "Oh well, Scooter got mad at him because he got called out for about to go do a show for another guy that was known as a snitch, but he ain't really showed him love or called him since he been home or whatnot, right?" So he was like, "Yeah, we need to meet up. I want to fight and whatever." He's like, you don't got to bring the button. You know what I'm saying? Talking about a gun. He's like, we just fight and squabble it out, and we come back together as men. We talk it out. And just because you lose don't mean you lost. Because it's the same thing. Prison rules. As long as you show up for the fight, you ain't no buster type shit, right? So he gave a really horrible analogy, but it's true. He said he wasn't condoning it. I'm not condoning it neither. But it's true. He was like, look at how he's like, I don't understand how two men can't fight and then come together. You know what I'm saying? How two men can't fight and then come together and and be back cool again, or be back friends again. He was like, look at how you get into a fight with your old lady and y'all whip each other's ass or something like that, and then you know what I'm saying? Y'all get back cool. He's like, you can fight with your girl and y'all get back cool, which is true. Happens all the time, y'all. But what I'm saying is this. You have all of these different dynamics. Even lesbian women go through it. Some may be better at articulating it more than others. Like I said, women say 30,000 words per day to a man's 10,000 words per day. Sometimes less is more. You understand? And it's about details in describing something. When I talk to some of my students, it's like, your English is good. You go into details. It may come off to some people as over describing something or over analyzing something, but no, you want to be detailed. But sometimes less is more, right? You can't out-simp no dyke. I'm not, I'm not the biggest expert on women, but I know one thing for sure, that they want more. They want more. Women want more. There's really nothing that a dyke busting her ass can really give a woman after a while, to a certain degree, like I said. And let me tell y'all fellas something too, because stud women get used like a motherfucker. It's really fucked up, by the way. But I'm gonna give y'all some real good game. A lot of fucked up bitches hide behind studs to look like good women to other lesbitarians and other heterosexual men that don't know no goddamn better. So it's not alarming that they think or carry on or say some of the things that they're saying. Again, women were right. I know a lot of women that lie, but a lot of them tell the truth.
With today's problematic modern day black woman, in my most humble opinion, they are now seeing where we are coming from, and some of these women are switching back over to the other side. I've seen many videos like that, and I've made many videos like that where women who are in that community have said, I renounce it, I'm tired of it, I can do bad by myself, but I would rather be with a man, because now they see the man's experience in America with women. Let's keep going.
Like that's my love language. My love language is acts of services, trying to make your life easier, and gift giving. That shit is number one, very high on my love languages. But it's like, if you ask for it,
and as a woman, you gonna learn the hard way if that's your goddamn love language. If you're a woman and your thing is to provide your woman with abundance and give gifts for no reason, you gonna get taken advantage of. Your ass is going to get taken advantage of. You're gonna get taken advantage of. That's and like I've told y'all, if you do something for a woman more than 3 times, she's gonna automatically assume you're gonna always do it. If you do something for a woman more than 3 times, it's mandatory at that point. And it's funny because these are women that are dumbfounded when women act like women. I didn't expect her to act like, well, you should have. Should have. Cause she finna run you through the ringer. Like I said, if you do something for a woman more than 3 times, that's mandatory to them. That's mando commando. If you do something for them more than 3 times. No, I said 3 times. Okay? And coming into a situation trying to gift your way into some coochie that you got to turn around and lick also, man. Man, listen, it must be horrible to be a Dizike. Licking that disaster zone and having to go through some of the stuff these women go through. But look, they don't need a man, y'all, because they can be the man.
It's like, I don't know, I get the ick.
You get the ick. We've been having the ick for quite some time dealing with this foolery, right? Put this last lady on the screen. Excuse me, as I look for her. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, isn't it, y'all? Hope y'all doing all right out there. All right, let's hear what she got to say.
Hey, this another one for all my studs out there. Don't let them convince you that you don't deserve nice things, that you don't deserve flowers, that you don't deserve to be get treated. You know?
What do you buy a stud for Christmas? That's a cynical question. Cause we get a dusty ass tie and get told to go back to work. That is a cynical question. What do you buy a stud for Christmas? I'm being dead serious. Some socks.
No, taking out, going to have drinks, tab on her. Hey, just because we dress masculine.
What tab, little nigga?
It's not me. That we don't like nice shit and to be pampered and treated special too.
And they be serious too. Like, we women too. We can't tell. We can't tell. AK, hey, no. All right, you win, bro. You won that one. Hey, yo. I asked, what do you buy a stud for Christmas? This man K said a do-rag. Hey, yo. Yo.
Well, that's exactly what it means. Because when you say that you are like a man, all that stuff, that means that you want to take on everything that a man has to take on. So, yeah, welcome to the man's experience, lady. All I got to say to you. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll talk to y'all pretty soon. What's the day? Thursday? Okay, yeah.
Oh, God. Ooh, that one took me out, man. That one took me out. Woo-wee. Hold on, y'all. Not the do-rag, man. Not the do-rag. Oh, look. All right, listen, y'all. We're going to have a double show. We're going to have we almost 45 minutes in. We're going to have a double show, man. It's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host, DJ Kuda, right back at the helm of today's show. Oh, Lord. Whew. I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for hitting the like button, supporting the show. We'll be right back. It's Player Talk. Peace. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.